proper November day at Virginia International Raceway for the ChampCar iRacing 3 Hours of VIR. This is ChampCar iRacing, the official sim racing series and championship of the ChampCar Endurance Series. Our mission is to be a teaching tool, to be part of the community, to put sim racers in touch with ChampCar Endurance Series and create a pathway to real wheel-to-wheel road racing on North America's greatest racetracks. And this is 3 hours of team endurance racing ahead of us today, live on HJBC and on ChampCar Live. Well, it is one of the greatest racetracks anywhere in the world, but it's not one of the greatest days ever in the world. A little bit breezy, and as you can see, some water lying on the grass on the racetrack, some more rain predicted later in the day, and relatively cool ambient temperatures and track temperatures are going to make things a challenge for all of our teams today. To bring you live coverage here, it's David Haynes with Devin Peters, Michael Derby in our production. Thank you for joining us, and I hope whether you're looking for a good race or cheering on a friend or teammate or just looking to see what it's all about, that you'll enjoy yourself with us today. They are just qualifying right now before the 3-hour race gets underway, and up top of qualifying at the moment is SimCity Racing, Devin.
Yeah, and SimCity Racing looking to continue the winning streak. Polsek had Chris Beets and Ryan Puckdahl had a strong regular season. Puckdahl finishing in second place in the Sprint Series points, and in the Endurance Series they started off strong with a first place finish at Daytona, so they'll be hoping to keep that trend going. We'll see if any of our competitors today, though, can challenge them. Zach's Hitman Emporium, second place in the first round, and carrying on, looking pretty good out there today as well. Zachary Rubin in the car right now. And then always new faces coming to the series, and we've got some young ones. That is the young guns of Keegan Allen. A couple of go-kart racers from what I hear, and putting some solid laps down here, just bumping Zach's Hitman Emporium actually down to third place, so now running second overall in that number 3 car. I wonder if they fancy the Intimidator with a number like that. Rubber City Performance is running in 4th place right now, early in the qualifying session. That's a couple of longtime ChampCar Series veterans. Rubber City Performance has, I believe, Tim Wire behind the wheel right now, Ian Giebler, the other half of that team, and usually you see him in the Salem or the Summit Racing liveries, but the two of them out there today are wearing Tim's company colors. That's Rubber City Performance, and that's the team name there for them. Then in 5th place, we've got a team that is returning, but also a team that has a slightly changed name. Sebastian Day, the first Canadian in the field, is running today, and they're running 2430 Esports. I believe last time out they had a different name, Haynes. What was it?
No. They were always 2430 Esports from round 1. It's just that in the pre-registration phase they changed their mind from Brigand Bros to 2430.
Well, and the Brigand Bros and the 2430, they're both references to their go-kart background as well. So 2 out of our top 5 teams got a lot of Briggs and Stratton practice. So whether you're practicing on the sim or you're practicing on a go-kart, it's a good way to find some pace, it looks like. Next up in 6th, we've got the Backflip Boys of Alex Bueller and Co.
And Alex Coffard. Of course, they're the Backflip Boys because all of them can do backflips except for Alexander Bueller.
Yes, exactly right. Impressive athletics from at least 50% of the team there. Next up, we got Huge Ass, today piloted by, that looks like Alex Harrison. Too many Alexes in the HJ orbit, must be said. And they're out there putting in some laps, and wearing the HJ livery. You got to have the broadcast getting some sponsorship, looks on the cars. It's good. It's good for the brand. And then a couple other cars. Think Esports Motorsports has actually just bumped Team Huge Ass down to 8th. So Thonk Esports Motorsports, sorry, with Tyler Agostino at the wheel. And so that's that funky looking car right there, piloted by Tyler Agostino. And then we'll flip back over to Drivetrainer Motorsports. One of just 2 Drivetrainer cars registered today. This one is the Emerald Edition. They had to cannibalize one of their teams in order to make things work. Just like how Champ Cars usually cannibalize other cars sitting on the driveway. And so they're out today with Jake Van Hees at the wheel. Project Save the Stang is a project after our own heart, being piloted by Logan of the Sennhauser brothers. They're currently running in 10th, circulating and putting in some laps. And then we've got in 11th place, Legitimate Racing. And that's Sean Fritz and Trenton McMillan. They race a real world Mustang, so they're doing their part to save the Mustang, save the Stang as well. And I think this one also features the Eat More Miatas decal on the back, just like the real one.
Does it have the little mustache? That's super important to me.
Hey, that's a way to get votes from the commentary booth, is you're wearing a mustache. We'll have to get a better look later on.
It do be Movember.
It is November. And,
it always is for you, though, it seems. Well, not always, but you grow a good one, better than me.
If you know what you're good at, you got to keep to it. Nick Love is piloting the Love Racing 647 entry. He's behind the wheel during this qualifying session. Nick Love, longtime racer with the iRacing series and the Real World ChampCar series. Started in 2018. And I think he and Nick Love 4. Nick Love 4 is Papa, right? What's Papa Love's name?
His dad. I'd have to be reading the correct part of the spreadsheet or remember what he told us the other day, 2 weeks ago at the first round, the 3 hours of Daytona.
It's been a lot of miles since then, but I'm sure we'll get it right in a little bit here. In 13th place, we got Balthazar Motorworks putting in some qualifying laps. They're the red Porsche that you see here. Zach Balthazar, the namesake, is running right now. And you might notice Balthazar Motorworks BMW, they're traders. That's basically what you got to say here. But they're doing okay. Bill Woods, Justin Woods, we'll expect to see them out as well behind the wheel. Slowered expectations out there, lapping in 14th place with Andy Cossack. And it looks like he's incorporated a little bit of mint blue just to satisfy us after the last round. Usually he runs a mint blue vehicle. And 15th place, we got LF Racing. That's Edgar Fuentes, new entry for this season. LF Racing is Colin Lounsbury and Edgar Fuentes. Colin Lounsbury has been racing with us for a number of seasons, and we'll see what they are able to do with their first appearance of this endurance seasons. And then lapping in the back, we got Team Thomas Love with Charles Kowalczyk behind the wheel. Last minute entry, and I think they're finding their way around VIR. And it's a hard one out here in the rain as we see them take a little bit of dirt into the grill of that Porsche.
Yeah, so no rain falling at the moment, but the track is clearly very wet. Everyone is on their wet tires, and it doesn't look like drying up entirely quickly.
And it looks like I missed one. The producer's showing us. We got the other DTM team, DTM Carbon, lapping out there. So they're in the black and yellow Stang today. And DTM Carbon's going to have Bowie Suin and Kyle Shuck running today. Anyways, I'll let you carry on, Haynes.
goodness if I could remember what I was talking about. Probably something about the weather, as we saw a bit of South Bend track expansion happening there. That, yeah, the sun sort of comes out in some little bits here. We'll see if the water moves particularly quickly, but then there is some more rain expected by about the halfway point of the race. When you look from on high, you're looking through a lot of spray and some low cloud, and some of it being lifted off the racetrack as well.
Yeah, it's a challenging track in the wet, and you got to know where the high spots are and where the low spots are. They're not always where you expect them to be out here. You can see the spray coming off of all of these GT4 cars, and they really get moving as they come up the big straightaways, the intimidating straightaways, and into the sort of flowing corners here at VIR that pose a real challenge in the wet.
Yeah, because sections like the lower S's and then the climbing S's here, when you've got a lot of grip in the dry, you can carry a lot of speed through there. But suddenly in the wet, a little bit less grip, it becomes a little bit bigger of a problem, a little bit more of a lift, and more important to be on the correct line going through places like that. Roller coaster, of course, becomes even more intimidating when you've got a brake earlier. A hog pen offers a lot of grip in the dry, the way the car compresses. But then in the wet, that's sort of where some of the water tends to puddle as well. So Edgar Fuentes has gotten into the LF Racing Porsche. It takes a while to build some tyre temperature in these conditions as well. Checkered flag's out, so if you're on a lap, that's it.
And we're seeing one come to the end here. What I'm not seeing is anyone lighten up the timing sheets right now. So I'm not sure we'll see any movement here on the final lap.
Practice that pit entry. That's a good idea. You'll get a penalty if your tyres go over the painted green and yellow. That's not it's an unsafe pit entry, so don't do it. And they are going to need to pit a bunch of times during this 3-hour race. Legitimate racing, using as much of the track as they dare get away with in their Ford Mustang. And then a long run to where the timing line is after pit road and underneath the flag stand, just about there for legitimate racing. And Trenton McMillan, that was just a subtle improvement right at the end. Project Save the Stang also. Logan Sennhauser goes a little bit quicker with a best of a 2:05.9. Nick Love through the hog pen, currently 13th. And a little wiggly on power to the exit. He needs to find about 0.3 of a second in his back pocket if he's going to jump up a spot. A bit more time and he could jump a couple more. And he doesn't.
That just goes to show those conditions out there are tricky, even though there's no water falling from the sky. There's plenty on the track right now.
So that looks like that's going to lock in our starting order for the second of 4 iRacing endurance races coming up. So we had one 2 weeks ago. We're now here for 3 hours of VIR, 3 hours of Road America, and 3 hours of Sebring still to come. SimCity Racing on the pole from Young Guns, Keegan Allen. And then Rubber City Performance appearing for their first time this season with 3rd in qualifying, just ahead, fractionally, narrowly ahead of Zach's Hitman Emporium. 2430 Esports in 5th. Backflip Boys in 6th. Thonk Esports, Motorsports, SimSports Racing, powered by Beer, 7th. Our graphic tries to compress that and it still doesn't fit. That's kind of the point. Huge Ass in 8th. Oh, nice simple name. Balthazar Motorworks in 9th. Drivetrainer Motorsports Emerald in 10th. Then we have Legitimate Racing in 11th, Project Save the Stang, powered by SRT in 12th, Love Racing in 13th, Drive Trainer Motorsport Carbon in 14th, Slowed Expectations 15th, LF Racing in 16th, and Team Thomas Love would like us to also call them Love Racing. $17 cars lining up now in pit road for the formation lap behind the BMW M2 CS Racing pace car, which we may see again. Now, the driver that qualified doesn't necessarily need to be the driver who starts the race, and there are going to be a couple of changes, so that looks like Tim Wire, okay, going to start the third. 2430 Esports sort of deciding who's going to start that one there. Max Francischelli to start from 5th. Jake Van Hees has gotten into the Drive Trainer Motorsports number 4, and there's everyone ready to go. Where you qualify decides which pit stall you get. Headlights flash on the Mustang when you got the pit lane speed limiter on by the looks of things. Keep an eye out for that as we've moved into the race session. A bit of the water's moved about on the racetrack. Now, if you want to learn more about these iRacing ChampCar events, forum.champcar.org on the ChampCar forum has got all the information that you need. And this is where we stand in this championship at the moment. SimCity Racing, who are on pole today, took the win in race 1. And Zach's Hitman Emporium, DTM Emerald and Carbon, and then Backflip Boys. We've got 4 races. We've already run the first. We're here at the second. Your best 2 results of races 1, 2, and 3, plus your race results in round 4, the final, decides your total. Least points is our winner. So it's ChampCar National Championship rules across 4 iRacing events. Things are looking good so far for SimCity Racing, but it's never decided until round 4. And even some cars that didn't compete at round 1 now here at round 2, if they get a good result here and then a good result at round 3, then that could seed them well for the 4th race. So pace car speed here is about 52 miles an hour. Pit lane speed is 50. We'll see if we see that safety car again at some point today, which we very well may. The track's a bit slippery right now. There is more rain to come, but it will dry up at least over the first sort of hour and a half. And I'm pretty sure everyone is on wet tires. But Legitimate Racing, I'm not sure about. Trenton McMillan might actually be on slicks back there in the Mustang.
We'll see how that rear axle in particular behaves with dry tires.
You got to do a Mustang to Mustang comparison, I think, to try to figure out, does it look like they've got something different than Project Save the Stang alongside them? Looks very similar to me. We'll find out when this one gets underway because we're getting towards the end of the formation lap. We've got 3 hours ready to begin from VIR for the ChampCar iRacing. 3 hours of VIR. It's Porsches on the front row, SimCity Racing and Young Guns, but there's also BMWs and Mustangs in the field. There goes the safety car. The green flag is about to be waved. to Chris Beats.
It's wet on that inside line.
Now it goes, and so too do the racing cars down towards turn 1. They won't have much brake temperature or tire temperature, and you can see the spray. It is low grip conditions to get this underway. And the legitimate Mustang is not only staying on track, potentially moving forward. No, that might actually be on slick tires.
Oh man, he had such a good braking move into turn 1. And it looked like it was going to work out, but just slowly starts to hydroplane about halfway around the corner, and that thing's facing the wrong way. He'll get underway again, but not before losing some time.
I don't have my binoculars, so it's hard to work out exactly what tires are on that Mustang, if they're the same as the others. But that certainly looked like it could be a case of wrong tire for the conditions right now. No issues up front for Chris Beats as he leads us up through the S's. Zach Rubin in third is up a spot. Max Francischelli for 2430 Esports is up a spot because Rubber City Performance and Tim Wire just dropping back 2 spots off the race start. Top 3 starting to get away through the Oak Tree turn for the first time in the racing conditions. Missed that oak tree at the apex there, but the corner is still very formidable. Tightens from the first apex into the second, and your exit is critical on a Madison Avenue, the longest straight on the racetrack, heading towards VIR's famous roller coaster. Keegan Allen has a good run, and he is moving around in the spray in search of visibility, in search of grip, which is only just going to find in the braking zone to the roller coaster.
Roller coaster scary every day, but in the rain, it's extra intimidating. We almost saw it take its first victim there. Speaking of, Hogpen is intimidating too. We just saw that look like Max Francischelli. You're going to have to help me with that one. Haynes from 2430 Esports take it extra wide through the mud, perhaps in honor of the hogs that used to live there. What do you think?
Sure. Yep. Could be. Tim Wire gets one of his spots back there, and it's really close in this group, sort of 4th through to 9th. But that top 3, boy, oh boy, are they getting away, and it's getting away from Alex Harrison as he also spins through turn 1. It can be slippery there. There is a bit of a bump just past the apex, and he loses that just a little bit later in the corner than Legitimate Racing did.
Yeah, it's honestly a tricky corner with the Mustang all the time, but you see it here, it just kind of gets away from him. Maybe a
suggestion off the road. Thomas Love is the iRacing name. And what they've given us on the document, he's made up a couple of spots post-qualifying. So he's just got ahead of Drive Trainer Motorsports and LF Racing.
At the front, SimCity Racing is starting to build up a little bit of a gap. It was aided by Keegan Allen in the Young Gun car going and trying out the dirt on the way through Oak Tree. It's really easy to get too deep in there and to run it wide, but they did a good job of keeping it square as they re-entered, and a good braking zone here. I think Keegan's going to be real close again to Chris Beats.
So no rain falling. Hasn't been any rain in quite some hours, but that track is still wet, and a cold November day means that the water is not in a hurry to go anywhere. The sun doesn't have the power that it does here during the middle of summer. And so almost everyone's still on their wet tires, but we might see that begin to change as the racetrack dries up. A hint of the sun right now for our leading drivers. Beats, I think, has gone a bit wide at turn 1 just then. Just out of frame.
Yeah.
Keegan Allen has gotten a whole lot closer.
Yeah, I agree. Just 2 tires on the wet part. It's not really a dry line, but there's a drier line out there. And just 2 tires on the wetter part, and that was enough to send Beats wide. So
Team Carl's done the same. At turn 1, they've just lost a couple of spots, so LF Racing's gone back ahead of them. It's just a case of in too hot. off the line in the puddle, and then the grass is mega slippery as well. Oh, and then Alex Harrison nearly did the very same as a lap ago. Rear stability, a struggle for the Mustang in the really tight turns. Legitimate Racing number 7 are on the pit lane, and
the backflip boys are trying out a backflip. Bueller got that thing back under control. You see him re-entering slowly here, but he entered the upper S's, and oh boy, I don't know how he caught that.
The wrong side of the flag stand. Yep. Nearly Sven Demmeled it just then. Nick Love's got a meatball flag for Love Racing 647, while Legitimate Racing have come to the pit lane to get a wet set of tyres installed. They were on slicks. It was the wrong choice. And is this going to be similar? A Porsche on the curb, climbing through the S's, you betcha. Spins to the opposite side, and that was nearly a backflip.
Yeah, at least in the ChampCar iRacing series, you're not wrenching on that car. You're just getting a fresh one the first time. But with a long race ahead, these drivers will have to keep in mind. Keep that in mind. Chris Beats is running wide though again in turn 1. Really seeming to diamond that corner, while the young guns are preferring to keep it a little tighter.
Gee, that green painted runoff works really well in the dry, but it feels like it could be slippery in these conditions. The grass is slippery, the curbs are slippery. Chris Beats is pushing on because Keegan Allen is keeping him under so much pressure in this race lead. Fastest lap of the race at the moment belongs to Keegan Allen because he was 1,000th of a second quicker than Chris Beats. So it's game on early in this 3 hours between SimCity Racing and Young Guns. Legitimate Racing are back out of the pit lane with wet tyres on. Trenton McMillan still driving. Nick Love has made it to pit lane with his damaged car. Barely. And he'll be very, very thankful for the repairs, but it's cost him a lot of time.
Logan Sennhauser is the latest victim of the wet at the top of the hill. And actually, as he was going through the S's, it looks like that Project Save the Stang Mustang got loose and found the dirt. We'll keep the eyes on the battle, though.
So you're looking for grip, not necessarily the geometrically optimal line of, least resistance and largest arc in conditions like these. So Alex Harrison was a little bit wider through the oak tree, but seems to have been able to straighten it up. 2430 Esports have been off the road. So tough conditions for everyone. They are back and steady now. I think that Thonky Sports Mustang had gotten by them and is now up into 5th, having qualified 7th.
Yeah, it's tough to race in the rain at the best of times, but in the sim, it's extra difficult. You don't have all the same senses, and even the ability to sort of detect where the low spots are is a little bit trickier. You've got to know the track really, really well. But around VIR, the water loves to puddle by the apex curbs and by the exit curbs, and I think some of the drivers are finding that out the hard way.
Yeah, did you see Tyler Agostino's line through turn 1? Every time we've seen a Mustang be super tight to the apex there, it's been challenging, but he was a wide arc, and it seems to work out relatively well for him. He's getting a little bit closer to some lapped traffic there. Yeah, which is Nick Love after his repairs, now a lap down.
Yeah. Well, managing traffic always tough. I'm not sure that the Mustang's faster in a straight line. We'll have to see what the drag race looks like on the exit of the corner here.
And then it gets close back there between 2430 Esports and Balthazar Motorworks. got much closer climbing up the S's and through South Bend, and then you've got to try to stay close through Oak Tree, which was then the challenge, and they didn't quite manage to keep the same pressure on. But it seems like you want to be cautious with those curbs going up through the S's. You don't quite want to go flat out through there. But Zach Balthazar is more comfortable with doing it than Francis Shelley is at the moment. I thought I would have seen a bit more lap time improvement going on in this race, but Chris Beats is a second off his personal best of the race. Keegan Allen, I think, had a little bit of a problem. Just lost a second or so last lap. The only drivers currently doing sort of personal best, it's drivers that were really in the traffic early on. So it's not lap on lap on lap improvement as they get more temperature into these tires. It's that. Not necessarily getting easier.
Yeah. Well, and it's a cold track. So that, you know, even with the blacktop out here, there's no sun to heat it up. And so I think these drivers are just really feeling the effects of that wet more than maybe we expected off the start. Franchiselli had another little moment at the bottom of the hill, but he's got it going the right way and is trying to get caught back up to Thonky Sports. It's actually a little battle going on here for fifth place. I'd say Tyler Agostino at the front of the threesome with Nick Love a lap down up ahead of all of them. Luckily for Tyler, that Porsche does give a little bit of draft for that big hulking Mustang, which helps down the back straight. But you can see Franchiselli really nailing the entry into the roller coaster there. Do we say the other name on the air? I don't know if this is that kind of broadcasting.
The one that's registered but not on track. What?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Franchiselli finds a puddle on the entry into one there. Had the rears sliding, but closing up again under braking onto Tyler. You love wet racing. It just really amplifies every little input and every little phase of the corner as the drivers are out on track.
The last lap was a personal best for Francis Shelley there. So down to an 04.8. In front of him, Agostino's never done a lap time in the 05s, but in the 04s, but been pretty consistent in the 205s. You know, the top two doing 203s and then 204s in third and fourth, and then time goes back and forth a little bit here. Some other cars in sort of 207s, 208s. Drive Trainer Motorsports, Jake Van Hees. It's actually been a couple laps in a row quicker than the drivers around him, so that car took a little moment to fire up. One of the few BMWs. Didn't seem entirely confident with it in the first few laps, but last two laps in a row been quicker than Alexander Bueller in front of him and quicker than Logan Sennhauser behind him. His race leader who's got 2 seconds in their pocket. And what parts of the racetrack are they looking for? Is he trying to stay on the dry line, or is he looking for some puddles? Is there a chance that with no more rain falling that they've begun to even overheat the wet tyres on a track that's still a little too slippery for slick tyres?
You know, I seeing him on the inside wall on the front straight a lot of water loves to live down there, and I think that the choice to go there is strategic. That's not where you go when there's a lot of water still on track. And we're seeing a lot more curb use through the lower S's than I think we've seen over the last few laps. It does seem like it's getting drier, Haynes.
Well, we saw multiple occasions of sort of this curb on the right there that Chris Beats has just gone over, sort of the second of the 4 curbs through the climbing S's, that the water was there and it was super slippery, and a couple of the Porsches that often sit lower to the ground were sort of coming off of it. So, just as I said, Van Hees was beginning to catch backflip boys Alexander Bueller. He's gone and pulled out a new personal best. And the backflip boys number 17 Porsche is closing in. Balthazar Motorworks is run wide through South Bend, kick up through the grass, and we're going to be side by side heading into the oak tree. If you can find some grip around the outside, you'd love to use it.
That's a really nice line from Bueller, but it's a scary place in the wet, especially to make an overtake on the outside. We'll see, though. Bueller seeming a lot more confident on that last lap than Balthazar ahead.
Now, it feels like it's often said that in dry conditions for the dry tyres, the best tyre pressure is as low as you can get away with, but that it's a bit more complicated in the wet because a high starting pressure can be good for a couple of laps and then it's not so good, and then the low starting pressure might eventually come back towards you, and that might be some of the difference that we begin to see now, is that some of the cars that looked difficult to control initially, the longer this goes on and the longer the run is and the track begins to dry out, they might come good again. So this backflip boys car did not like the curb or the wet at all early on, but now looks better. And then
this battle for 7th, 8th, there's suddenly a battle for 6th, 7th, 8th, because Max has just had another moment in turn 1 and has brought himself back into the picture for these two.
You'd also say that the drivetrain at BMW back there was also just getting better the longer this went on. It's gotten closer again here with our leaders. 203s, but a little bit of time lost by Chris Beats. Keegan Allen goes from about 3 seconds back a couple laps ago to 1.7 back now.
Bueller in the backflip boys car really seems to have the top of the hill figured out compared to Balthazar, and that combined with a little mistake by Balthazar at Oak Tree is going to be enough to let the backflip boys take the spot, moving from 8th up to 7th.
Oh, it's just getting a quarter of an inch of the tyres into the grass, and then there goes the grip. And down the inside went Alexander Bueller. The backflip boys are back up into 7th, heading towards the roller coaster. Zach's Hitman Emporium running in 3rd have been just a little bit off the road somewhere. Perhaps it was at the roller coaster. It's going to cost them some time on this lap, and you can see that Rubber City Performance is not too far behind them. So it would ordinarily be a 204, becomes a 207 this lap for Zachary Rubin. And is there damage on the front left? Just a tiny, tiny bit? Or am I imagining things? Hard to know. Maybe I'm imagining things.
Might just be some grass on there. Hard to say, Haynes.
Next time when I use my imagination, I'll imagine something way more exciting.
Back in that battle for 7th, 8th place, Bueller ran it about as wide as you can run it in turn number 1. Got the left front onto the white paint on the outside of the first corner, but managed to keep it on track and just lose tenths rather than seconds. Not sure we've seen the end of that one just yet.
Balthazar not shy of the curb there either. A bit of a puddle on the driver's right just before they go into these S's. Nope, that's too wide. That's the grass. From Alexander Bueller South Bend, he just got in there a little hot. Car didn't seem to rotate, like he got a bit of understeer.
Will be a bit interesting to see with these mixed conditions who really favored their setup towards the wet and who really favored it towards the dry, and what the split was as things continue to dry out here. Laps at the front of the field are getting a little more consistently fast. And the young guns are back to pushing the SimCity Racing guys up there.
Just looking at this forecast, it says in an hour's time a 2% chance of rain, but in an hour and a half's time a 77% chance of more rain. So goodness me, if we do get to slick tyres, we're not going to stay on them for particularly long, it seems.
It might just sneak a fuel stint in there, though. We'll have to see what these guys are able to do. I think we're...
Balthazar wide at turn 1, got really close to the backflip boys. So this has been where some of the excitement's been, sort of 6th, 7th, 8th, and they've been sort of trading it back and forth, and then one of them will have a little mistake, the other one will get closer and then reverse that. Drive Trainer Motorsports 23 also beginning to pick up a little bit of pace, so too do the young guns in second place, but this is Bowie Sewin getting closer to Colin Lounsbury last lap in 11th and 12th.
Yeah, the young guns have just put back-to-back purple sectors in. I think that's what you're correctly reading, so they're under pressure.
This is on board with the Mustang heading uphill, curbs, steering. Oh, off the road in front of us, so that's an opportunity for Bowie Sewin to get down the inside here at Oak Tree.
And they were too wide going through Oak Tree, and it was too wide going up the hill after Alex Bueller and Balthazar had their...
No.
Franciselli had a moment. And we'll get to see this replay of the two of them going all the way down this big long back straight and too wide into roller coaster, which is sketchy all the time, especially in the wet. But no shortage of bravery from either of them, and Franciselli's going to take the advantageous line into roller coaster and hold on to it. And as we rejoin them after the first turn, that's the order they're still in. But all throughout the field, we're starting to see personal bests popping up. And even on the camera, I think you can almost start to see the dry line start getting to form.
Do believe that SimCity Racing had just set a new fastest lap of the race at a 2:02.669. If I can understand how numbers work, yeah, I would be correct.
I think Tim Wire understands how tires work with that Rubber City performance car starting to sneak up onto the back of Zach's Hitman Emporium here, showing himself to be pretty adaptable in the wet, taking nearly a second out of that Hitman Emporium car ahead over the last lap. And you see him searching a little bit for wet spots down the straightaway.
Yeah, I can see a dry line now. I'm seeing much less spray in some places than we were having.
The blimp would have you believe that there's a lot of rain falling, but that's just clouds.
It looks more like it's Snoop Dogg's blimp to me. So this is third and fourth over the line. Yeah, there's that dry line. You can see it from the static cam at the flag marshal's position at the flaggers stand at the start finish line. Bringing a lot of these battles back together, Devon.
Yeah, all throughout the field, we're seeing things start to tighten up. I think as drivers get a little bit more confident. We're seeing, where do you want to go? We've got 7th and 8th getting close together. Of course, Sachs Hitman and Boreum are still racing, and maybe even let's feature one we haven't looked at in a bit. That'd be 11th and 12th. This is heading down into turn 1. Bowie Suin in the DTM Carbon car with Colin Lounsbury in the LF Racing car. Oh, and you see Colin stays on the dry line as the Mustang goes a little bit wide, and Colin's going to have the advantage, and I think a little bit of grace from Bowie there. Let's Colin take the spot. Oh, but Colin runs it wide on the exit. That left hook, he'll hold on to it. Colin, not the first guy to take advantage of the tread on these tires by going out off track. He uses it to great effect and holds on to the spot. What do we got here now?
Pull into the roller coaster for the DTM Emerald BMW. Oh, a little bit of the curb on the inside, and once the rear brakes way, then they spin into the tyres on the inside, do a bit of damage to the big sniffer, particularly in the front left corner. It's just pushed in somewhat, but they've stayed out on track.
Yeah, luckily you can kiss those tire barriers and get away with it, as long as you don't get stuck underneath. And with a sniffer like that, there's no way you're getting stuck underneath.
On board with Alexander Bueller, the backflip boys are in 7th behind 2430 Esports. So from the driver's perspective, no rain falling on the windshield, a bit of spray coming off the car in front, but visually you can spot, a drier bit of racetrack.
Yeah, French Sally's still holding off Bueller, but it's tighter than ever this time through NASCAR. Bueller, just both of them looking very controlled. Oh, French Sally runs it a little wide, and Bueller's going to have to brake. It's not really a passing zone there unless the other person gets all the way off, but you can tell that French Sully's feeling the pressure from behind.
Whoa, over the curbs, bouncing, getting a slide, kicking up extra moisture, Max Francischelli under all sorts of pressure through Oak Tree, which has been one of the challenging corners. Alexander Bueller just a little quicker through there that time, but it became single line into the Oak Tree. Big wide line, but then there's not a lot of grip in the traction in the green concrete. Second place has been off the road as the drivers continue to explore in search of new grip on a drying track that still holds a couple of pitfalls, damp curbs, slippery grass, and Devon.
Yeah, we'll see it here. It's maybe some of that young inexperience just showing its head a little smidge offline, and frankly, Keegan Allen's done a great job keeping it off the wall and rejoining, but that has taken the lead out front from 1 second up to 8.
I'd say he did a great job of keeping it out of the wall and a iffier job of rejoining, but that was so close to being a replay of Nick Love.
Colin Lounsbury in the other white Porsche has just had a moment and continues to have a moment We'll see. Colin here, as he comes towards roller coaster, turns in, and we've seen this a few times. Folks just start to lose it as they gas it up coming down the hill, and that inner barrier there is getting a workout. Collins kept it off the wall, but when he tried to turn it around, he pinned it on the grass, and it did a full 360, not a 180 like he was hoping.
Well, he knows where his traction control switch is, but he needs to know how to turn it back on.
I thought for a moment that was our young guns when I caught it out the corner of my eye, and so I was thinking we were seeing a major shift.
Has he just done it again?
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't turn the traction control back on, and he nearly spears Nick Love.
I wonder if he's accidentally turned it off.
Because it's off at that point, because otherwise you can't do burnouts with the traction control engaged. It just doesn't happen. So he's got no control. This back live for 6th place. 24:30 got their nose in front. The backflip boys have tried, and it's not to be just yet. New fastest lap of the race comes in from SimCity Racing as well. So finally now the track again is getting quicker. There's a switch from Bueller from the right-hand side of the road to the left. Finds a wet patch there that'll kick up a bit of spray and cool off his tyres. But is there grip there to try to outbrake and then turn in? No, not quite.
Yeah, anyone who knows VIR knows that isn't a wide part of the track at Hogpen there, and that was it's impressive stuff to try and go through there too wide. Bueller is pulling every trick in the book to try and make this pass right now.
So they've got a big problem with the LF Racing Porsche at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, traction control would save you normally from that, but they ain't got none.
Yeah, I'd say that's not working too well for him.
Alex Harrison goes past Andrew Kosick, the huge-ass Mustang, ahead of slower expectations Porsche Cayman, and Legitimate Racing, having started on slicks, moved to wet tyres, are 1 lap down. But moving along very nicely. Last lap with a 204.8. Be the 4th fastest car on track with their previous lap. So it's a car with some promise, but a tactical blunder or a mistake at the start of the race cost them a lot of time.
Yeah, of course we do have the wave rounds enabled, so if there's caution they might have a chance to get back on the lead lap. We join Zach's Hitman Emporium here, and we'll see them coming down the hill and just getting in a little bit loose.
They were 3rd, and then they ended up 4th. Rubber City Performance Tim Wire went through into a podium spot. It is continuing unending dramas for LF Racing, unfortunately. They are now off the lead lap. Whee!
Yeah. And we'll have to get someone on the crew chief for him to tell him to switch that traction control back on. These GT4 cars have the full suite of driver aids if you want them. And sometimes they're faster, usually I'd say. Franciselli still holding off Alex Bueller, but still struggling through the lower S's. We've seen that one. But crucially, you can see that dry line is well and truly there, and the puddles are starting to disappear from the apexes.
Yeah, another new fastest lap of the race as well. The track's getting quicker, the cars are getting quicker. Drivers are getting more confident. sometimes to their own detriment. Still seeing plenty of mistakes happen. But when they do have a clean lap, it's quicker than previous. Franciscelli keeps that tight line. Alexander Bueller takes the big, wide, sweeping arc through Oak Tree, and that's going to give him a pretty good run. Does he have straight line speed? He switches to the other side of the racetrack again, kicks up a little bit more spray.
See a little lift there, I think.
You know, Bueller's done a few laps in the slipstream here, and I still see that he's about 1.5 miles per hour slower than the 2430 Esports. So if the ride height, the rake angle, the rear wing setting are set for maximum grip for the backflip boys, anticipating more rain to come, but it might be just hurting them on the dry track as far as making passes. Balthasar Motorworks just in the back, a shot as well. If these two keep battling. And so through some of the corners and in some of these braking zones, it looks like the 17 backflip boys maybe do have more grip and more confidence, but they're just not quicker down Madison Avenue, which is where they need to be quick to make a pass.
I'd believe it. Unlike the Sprint Series, the Endurance Series does feature completely open setups for the drivers, so we do have a lot of variation even between cars of the same make.
One of the variation we had is every Mustang decided to start on wet tyres except Legitimate Racing, so that made a big difference too.
Curiously, they have posted the fastest top speed of anyone, hitting 153 down the back straight, so that could be a factor when the time comes.
Well, did they set that on the slick tyres that have less rolling resistance but give no confidence through the corners?
It's a great question. It's a great question. We'll have to keep an eye on it. Just like we'll have to keep an eye on this battle. Bueller, once again, in position, but once again, looking for some water to cool those tires. And this time being followed out into the wet by Franciscelli, who's maybe giving up the inside line and roller coaster. Outside turns the inside. It's hard on the outside there. And the door closes.
Boy, was that
maybe
close.
A little touch there. Yeah. If it wasn't a touch of the models, it might have been a touch from netcode. Either way, Bueller gets the job done, and now 6, 7, 8 are nose to tail. With Bueller running wide on the exit of Hogpen. And maybe Zach Balthasar with the run on all three of them.
Yeah, personal best last lap from Zach Balthasar. Now he's about to complete another lap with a little bit of slipstream and resets his personal best again. So suddenly he's on, looking to the inside of one. If you go a little bit off the normal racing line, there can be some good braking grip on that slightly tighter line. He goes past. So Backflip Boys and Balthasar Motorworks both move ahead of 24:30. In third and fourth, we saw Zachary Rubin slide off the track a couple of laps ago, giving up third place, but now he's back in pursuit of it, getting ever closer to Tim Wire. Last lap was a personal best for Rubin.
Yeah, Rubin's been tracking him down up there. It looked like in particular he was a lot stronger through the lower S's. Colin Lounsbury looking for a lot of water there. The big puddles over to the left there. For the data nerds out there, I think our track temperature is just starting to creep up. Oh, Colin Lounsbury's running a little wide. He's trying to get out of the way, biting that blue flag. Zach and Tim both jump the inside curb at Hogpen. Real big that time by.
Can I offer you another new fastest lap of the race from SimCity Racing? Can I offer you a battle for third position? Tim Wire on the conventional racing line. Zachary Rubin looking to the inside of one. There's good braking performance there, and he does get back into third place.
You can tell Tim's done some laps around VIR. He doubled back and did the over-under, but right as he got to the puddle, you could hear the change in engine note. He went from full throttle to part throttle to full throttle again as he crossed the apex, because there's a puddle that just lingers there at turn number 1.
So Balthazar got ahead of 24:30. And my goodness, these guys have just done 206s, and Alexander Bueller, having struggled so hard to get past Max Francischelli, has just put down a 201.96 to almost be the fastest car on the track now, matching Chris Beats' lap time of a 201.9 basically. So this feels like a car that might be incredibly quick, but not in a straight line, not in the traffic, and they've found a sweet spot right now. Not afraid of the curbs anymore.
Yeah, about 9-10 seconds up the road till the next car on track, but if he keeps up this pace, he'll be seeing Tyler Agostino in that Thonk Motorsports car really soon.
Easy to spot on a dark and gloomy day, that psychedelic Mustang.
Yeah, it's foggy out there, but none of that fog is turning into water on the track right now. Makes for a realistic November day around here.
Wow, now Zach's Hitman Emporium nip the fastest lap of the race. Backflip boys are about to cross the start-finish line, and no, still a 201.9, so back-to-back laps in the 01.9. No idea what amounts to a crossover in this, but if on wet tyres they get underneath 2 minutes, you start to think that, yeah, slicks could work.
There's a lot of dry spots on this track. I'm trying to find a corner where there isn't one. But if you were going off fuel math, these things, they usually like to do around 45 minutes, isn't that right? So are they maybe pushing? Not sure exactly what the fuel times would look like here at VIR. We'll get an indication in a little bit, I suspect, but I wonder if these drivers are just thinking, let's run the full tank.
Yeah, in the wet, VIR is a slightly different proposition than in the dry at Daytona.
Mm-hmm. So it'll be curious to see. But you might almost be getting to a place where even with the overcast skies and the gloomy look, cold track, that you'd be better off on slicks. Be interesting to see who the first ones to test it are. At the north end of the track, it's almost sunny on the front straight. Meanwhile, down by Oak Tree, it's gloomy and foggy. Another fastest lap of the race. This time it's SimCity Racing and Chris Beats putting a 2:01.1.
Interesting how this happens. Like, they had a peak of pace on sort of lap 3 or 4. Almost everyone kind of dropped away for about 10 or 12 laps, and then we've come back to the speed ramping up, and it's become a frenzy now of lap times tumbling in the last 5 laps or so.
I think they're going to keep tumbling at this rate. SimCity Racing's gone 2 for 3 with purple sectors already on this lap. 7 sectors around the lap here, 6 sectors around the lap here at VIR.
So this is Big Mustang versus Big Mustang. Lurid slide out of turn one. So hard to catch from Logan Sennhauser. Project Save the Stang. Yes, with some steering correction for the number 13. 23 Drivetrainer Motorsports car of Bowie Suin looks far more planted and in control, and it also looks faster.
Bowie has a C5. Oh, so that might be our crossover. I'm going to say Bowie has a C5 Corvette that he tracks in the real world, so I have a feeling that he's not afraid of a little bit of wheel spin. And as we're watching the leader roll down pit lane, they're nose to tail through the upper S's. Drivetrainer Motorsports and Project Save the Stang. And it looks like 4 tires and some fuel for our leader.
Looks like 4 slick tires as Chris Beats stays in the SimCity Racing 71. Tim Wire brings Rubber City Performance in, and we'll see what performance rubber he goes for. LF Racing are in as well. So it's about pit stop time. We've just gone past 45 minutes of racing. If you take the 3-hour, 180-minute race and you divide it into 4 equal stints, then you would be making a pit stop every 45 minutes. We've just gone past that. We're starting to see a whole handful of pit stops. I'll try to keep you updated on who's doing what with the tyres, but this could be a tough outlap for Chris Beats. Tim Wire
and Bueller
doesn't say anything different.
Agostino and Bueller hitting the lane for their respective cars. A couple drivers opting to push it a little longer.
Definitely says Slicks for Backflip Boys and Thonk Esports. It says new wets for Rubber City Performance. So they are basically the only car to have pitted at this point and put wets on again. Everyone else is thinking it's time to go to slicks.
Well, Tim is a rubber guy, so he might have some insight here. We'll have to see. It is still treacherous in a lot of places around here.
I'm sorry, but the only rubber man I respect is Bibendum, the Michelin Man.
Well, I can't argue with that.
He also knows where to eat, so that's nice.
True. Logan Sennhauser and Bowie Suin are still racing with each other as our inherited leader, the Young Guns, now taking the lane along with second place on track, third place overall, Zach's Hitman Emporium.
LF Racing's stop. It looks like Lounsbury's gotten out, Fuentes has gotten in, and they've gone to slicks, and we might be about to see everyone who didn't stop last lap come in this lap. Balthazar Motorworks and 2430 Esports haven't seen the pit lane yet in this race.
SimCity Racing is purple on their sectors, so yeah, seems like dry might be the moment. The Young Guns unsurprisingly going to the dry tires, and Zach's Hitman Emporium too.
Just got to keep an eye on lap times for Tim Wire in Rubber City Performance then, if he is one of them that have bucked the trend. It's 2430 just coming in for their stop. Drivetrainer Motorsports. Young Guns made a driver change, so Cash Savage gets in.
The other half of Young Guns Performance. And Edgar Fuentes in that LF Racing car has pointed it the wrong way again. I think that car is just handling real bad for him out there. But he carries on past the pit lane, and we got a lot of cars on the lane now.
We've seen everyone except Thomas Love and Alex Harrison. Well, there definitely is some damage on the front left of Drivetrainer Motorsports Carbon. They have made no adjustments about it.
Yeah, those fast repairs could be valuable come later in the race, so I'm not sure I would be using it at this point if I didn't have to. Balthazar and Sebastian Day now having a little clash here as Balthazar gets pushed wide and just an inch off into the wet, and you're 2 feet off into the wet. And as Sebastian Day goes by the inside there.
Zach Rubin at Oak Tree on his new slick tires. Oh, he has like a little snap, and then he's wide in the wet, and then he's further in the wet, and the grass offers you very little grip on the slick tire either. Seeing the lap times from Tim Wire, I'm increasingly confident that Rubber City Performance 404 are on wet tires. Everyone else has gone to slick tires. So Alex Harrison, what fuel tank have they got in that thing? He's going for another lap. He hasn't stopped yet, so he's still on the wet tires that he started the race with. Pit lane speed perhaps here for the number 18 car. It appears they have a penalty and they're on their out lap, so I'm guessing there's been an issue with the pit lane speed. Look at the fastest lap of the race tumble, and more problems on the out lap for Love. They love racing, but they don't love traction control, it seems, across the 27 and the 18.
You definitely learned a lot racing without traction control.
Now, this is going to teach you a lot, because the huge ass Mustang is still on wet tires. Zach Rubin has gone to slicks, and wet tires still don't give you much grip in the grass.
Yeah, tough one there for Harrison. And got to think they're losing a little bit of time, but I do wonder how much time they're losing, and if they're looking down the road, looking at that forecast and seeing if, you know, maybe they can stretch it to a point that it makes sense. In sim we're about 10:20, and in about 45 minutes the forecast starts to say it might get a little bit wet. So if you were trying to stretch so that you could time your fuel stop up with the next arrival of rain in the forecast, it would make sense to pit around now, and we're seeing that from Legitimate Racing and Huge Ass.
So they've gone long on the fuel tank for the Huge Ass Mustang, and for Legitimate Racing, who started the race incorrectly on slicks, had to pit on lap 2 to go to wets. They refueled the car then, and it's brought them sort of 2 laps deeper into the race to now make a driver change to Sean Fritz and a tyre change to slicks, and to fill up their tank. There's Thomas Love into the pit lane to try to serve his penalty. And the fastest lap of the race has broken once again. We're well and truly underneath 2-minute lap times.
It's getting quick out there. It's a 55 last time by. That's a quick one.
Now, while it looks like it's going to be close between Harrison and Fritz exiting pit lane, the Legitimate Racing car is actually, in fact, a lap down. Nick Love here is on the same lap as Alex Harrison.
Andy Kossik's actually right behind him as well.
Yeah. Look at how Nick Love is struggling on wet tires as well. There is so much more lateral grip and confidence to be had on the slick tires now. They're going 5, 6, 7 seconds a lap quicker. This is a example of that difference. Love on wets, Kossick on slicks.
We did see at Daytona a couple of drivers having issues with the interface and selecting the wrong tire by accident. We heard some stories about that, so we do have to factor in that might be the case for a couple of these cars that stayed on wets.
Well, it's not the case for Nick Love because he hasn't
pitted. Yeah.
Second pit stop because he crashed on lap 3.
Fair enough.
There goes the leader, Chris Beats, putting a lap on these guys. So this probably is not going to reset the fastest lap of the race in that traffic. Problems for Zach's Hitman Emporium. Zachary Rubin touches the inside curb, hits the bump, and gets a slide.
Yep. Just cost some time. Luckily, no bumpers, but time matters in a big, long race like this.
Love Racing are going to have to stop again soon. Could be as soon as now, perhaps. Just spitballing, speculating.
Oh! Sean Fritz and Legitimate Racing's the wrong way on the front straightaway. And it looks like there's maybe a bit of a coming together. Oh, yeah. Contact. We'll have to watch the replay here. Sean Fritz is getting wide and just touches the grass for a second and punts the leader, who manages to keep it facing the right way. That was unlucky. If you go to the left-hand side on the straightaway, it's dry, but you go a little too far and you touch the grass, it's wet again. Luckily, it looks like our leader's been able to carry on, but we'll have to see if that damage comes to bite him. I see a little bit of mess on the front left corner of Chris Beats' car, that SimCity racing car. But I think you'd think the Porsche would have gotten the worst of it, given the size difference between the two.
But somehow not, because there's a mechanical black flag for Legitimate Racing. So we've got Meatballs, Fritz, and Beats. I don't know what kind of a meal that makes, or if they go together.
And they did this time. That is very lucky for our leaders. They've gotten very lucky to avoid a black flag or a meatball there for the damage, if it's caused one on the other car. I don't have a look at the door.
Longish stop for Nick Love here, an extra 10 seconds for some reason, as I think that's LF Racing continuing to struggle with traction. Really struggling with traction with this car.
And somehow, it looks like it's just the front left corner on the leader. I'm still blown away by that. What do we got here, Haynes?
Wire on wet tyres being caught by Agostino by about 5 seconds a lap. That Mustang's going to have so much more straight line speed as well with the less rolling resistance, and Tyler Agostino is going to take the Thonk Esports, Motorsports, Sim Racing team engineering to the podium positions for now. Their strategy is beginning to bear fruit. Right tyres, right time.
There's a little drama deeper in the field. 10th place, Bowie Thuin in the Drive Trainer Motorsports car. The carbon one is racing with Nicholas Lewalberg, and they just had to go around Nick Love as they came up on turn 9 in famous one at the top of the hill. And that was a little touch and go, very close.
And then a whole lap behind them, Fuentes and Love are for position. And Love on his outlap. Fuentes shoots past, LF Racing to 14th. So that's now everyone on slick tyres except for Tim Wire. Your top 10 are all sort of doing minute 55s, and Tim Wire's just done a 2:02. So it's becoming It's becoming costly. Zach Rubin's going to get him in the next, I was going to say lap, but probably next 20 seconds. Such is the pace difference. And then you'd expect Backflip Boys to get him in about 2 laps. There's the pace difference. It's catching Zach Rubin by surprise. He's like, oh, that's your pace through the corners.
Yeah. And I got to think those tires are just hot as the sun at this point for Tim Wire. It's tough, but when you're caught out on the wrong ones, there's not a lot you can do at this point. At 7 seconds a lap, I almost wonder if it's pit stop.
Because it actually doesn't take that long to change them. You wouldn't be taking a whole tank of fuel at this point.
Yeah,
it'd genuinely only be like a 25-second stop. And that's how much time they're losing every 4 laps.
Be curious to see. Getting off sequence does have its benefits with the possibility of caution flags. And there are still a few wet spots out there. Zach Rubin crossing the line got the car all kinds of sideways that time. Just slashed a puddle in a straight line. But
and then the uncertainty about when the rain might return. So if you take a splash of fuel now, changing to slick tyres, which are the right tyres for now and the right tyres for at least the next half an hour, then if everyone else has to stop again for their fuel, and then 5 minutes later the rain comes and they have to stop again, well, you'd only have to make 1 stop there. So there are ways that you could recover, and doubling down on a mistake doesn't really pay off usually in this sort of, be on the right tire at the right time situation. The BMW from Drivetrainer Motorsport is looking a little happier now that it's on slick tires and the track is drying out, and Jake Van Hees is catching Zach Balthazar.
yeah. It's starting to look like we might have another race there for that part of the podium. That part of the top 10, correction.
Van Hees has got a Michael Schumacher helmet. He never raced a BMW that I'm aware of. He raced a Sauber Mercedes. He raced a Jordan, Benetton, Ferrari, Mercedes. Not a BMW.
Did Schumacher ever put any laps in at VIR? That's the real question.
Well, he did live in Texas for a while. And I believe he still does. Does? No, he lives in Switzerland now.
I was to say, I have a good buddy who's just up the road from that estate. And he sends me pictures of the memorabilia collected in that house, and it is very, very envy-inducing, I gotta say.
Rubber City Performance have been listening to us because Tim Wire just pitted in. And with 2 hours left in this race, he's going to get the right tyres for now, if not the right tyres forever. BMW alongside Porsche as Balthazar Motorworks still just remain ahead of Drivetrainer Motorsport.
It's close. Oh.
Or don't go wide and into the wet. Oh, that doesn't work on these tyres. So it's a narrow racing line that is super grippy, but it's a narrow line of grip.
Yeah, and it's not aided by the air temp. It's 65 degrees out here, ambient, and the track is 67, and there's just no sun to really get this thing dried up. Not a lot of wind out there today, so we're not seeing the kind of drying that you might expect. What do we got here? Oh boy!
Oh, ouch! That'll make you dizzy and sore.
He's rolling it around Hogpen and limping it back to the pit lane right now, we're seeing. And And he's going to continue on, actually, another lap. I guess the radiators are somehow still intact.
I think he thought he was going to get an unsafe pit entry. The front left tire is bad. It was a massive, massive crash. He does have a meatball flag, but I think because where he was on track, if he turned to pit entry, might have gotten the unsafe pit entry, which would have held him a little bit of extra time. Big crash by hitting the white line. Here's Tim Wire, who's gone to slicks, hasn't got the temperature in him just yet, and then he hops too much curb on cold tires. Even when there's no water on the track, that can be a bad idea.
Oh, we're seeing them spinning all over the place. Sean Fritz in Legitimate Racing is the wrong way now at NASCAR, or at Left Hook, rather. And I think the added speed and the very narrow dry line is starting to catch people out. You see it here from Fritz. And he puts that cow out to pasture very briefly.
Yeah, I was thinking it was grazing.
Well, and Alex Harrison and Edgar Fuentes now having their turn offline and off track. Edgar Fuentes is going to turn into NASCAR and go wide. And then Alex Harrison's going to follow him and go backwards.
Yeah, I was about to say Harrison was going to be lapping him, but there's no issues there other than Alex Harrison also being too exuberant and following someone else into the same mistake. You don't need to lead me into temptation either. Means Andy Kossik's just behind him. And Jake Van Hees is just behind Zach Balthazar again. Straight line speeds have gone up. Now everyone's gone to the slick tyres as well, which on iRacing at least have noticeably less rolling resistance. The wet tyres have got actually outrageous rolling resistance. After one of the slower laps we're going to see all day, Love Racing 647 is on pit lane to be lovingly tended to.
Yeah, the iRacing stewards are unforgiving on those black flags. Even if you got a good reason for being way offline, you'll still get the penalty. So Love opts to brave the track for one more lap and takes it to the pits.
Well, there are still puddles to be found, but the racing line is dry and cool and grippy. The grass is not, but Van Hees is committed to a fault. Just like no, never mind.
I was curious to see where you'd go with that. Balthazar, though, no matter how committed Jake Van Hees has been, Balthazar is doing a really good job of defending. Has really.
I was going to say Eddie Murphy. Committed to a fault like Eddie Murphy. There we go. Does that work? Is that a joke?
I couldn't tell you. It's been a minute since I thought about Eddie Murphy.
Oh, Nick Luff is way off the track again.
Boy, howdy, he's just having a hard one out there today. He actually might have gotten a little bit of help from one of our young guns.
Yeah.
You know what? I think he was starting to slide beforehand. It's hard to say if that was netcode or if that was the real deal. Either way, Nick Love ends up deep in the grass. And a couple cars have to take evasive action. That was Zach Rubin in the Hitman Emporium car having to dodge on the exit. And Balthazar under even more pressure. You see the headlights flashing there from Jake Farheath. He wants to get by.
Chris was not that far away. Oh, that's wide from Balthazar. Everyone's doing it. I mean, Van Hees did it the other lap.
Someone's got to tell them they took the tread off the tires. It's not fast out there anymore.
You know how quickly they went from 202s to 155s? I feel like if someone had gambled going to slicks just 2 or 3 laps earlier, they might have had a monumental undercut. I think we'd reached the tyre crossover, but hadn't reached the end of the fuel window, and everyone is trying to make this a 3-stop race. So they stayed out on the tyres they had, rather than making the change early and potentially condemning themselves to a 4-stop race.
Yeah, being on the wrong side of that equation is tough. Jake Farhees is on the wrong side of Zach Balthazar. He can't find his way by again in turn number 1. Jake's making his first start of the season. Oh, we got the sponsor car off. Oh boy.
Did clip the wall.
Sketchy. Yeah, I'm not sure what prompted all that.
So Alex Harrison is behind. Is that LF Racing, the 27?
Yeah, takes some evasive action and trying to get the car pointed the right way, and just I'm not even sure he clips the tire wall, but gets on the very slick spot of that yellow paint. And
I think he does.
Yeah, he's cranking the wheel way left, and he's hydroplaning straight at the barrier, and goes for a wild ride. He's cost himself a little bit of time and a position. The Rubber City Performance guys have gone past him for 13th or 12th place. And you know what? I think Harrison just detected a lull in the broadcast and said, I'm going to help the sponsor out. You know, put a little action out on track for you. Didn't need to, though, because our leader, Chris Beats, is going past some more lap traffic. This time it's his turn to try and sneak past Sean Fritz. You can kind of see how the dry line is a little more right as you go down that twisting front straightaway. And Fritz was actually loose enough that he had to tap the brakes on his front straight to keep the point at the right way. 3 cars, 3 different laps. All in one shot there. Back with Zach Balthazar and Jake Farhees, these two never going to give it up. At least as long as Farhees is behind. He tries the wide exit out of 9 this time. And he closes up, but he runs it a little wide. That oak tree, and it's so tempting to just roll that extra mile an hour of speed, but it puts you out of position and makes you late to apex at oak tree on the entry there, and it costs him down the straightaway. Even from that far back, I think Farhees is not even gaining an extra mile an hour down that straightaway from the draft. 2 of them coming up now on Nick Love and the Love Racing car. I'll be looking to get by quickly. Balthasar does. Oh, no. And gets taken out by Papa Love. And that's rough. Balthasar is going to brave the pit lane immediately with what I gotta assume is some damage. Just going to take an improper entry as well. And the stewards there are talking about that one.
Clumsy and unnecessary, you would think.
I just saw Sean Fritz take another slide in that Mustang too. Two of them are struggling out there. You'll see it here. He takes a slide and he's actually nearly joined by Nick Love 4 in that Porsche.
Yeah, Love Racing 647 was already out there and he almost rolled backwards out into him. So there's yet again more damage. Car that doesn't want to turn left.
The other the other Love car has an issue. It's Team Thomas Love this time, who has an issue at Oak Tree. Keeps it off the wall, but runs it wide himself. Bad lap for the Love crew. Let's see
Hey,
where
that's
Harrison's got himself up to. Yeah. That NASCAR bend is really catching people out, and I think it's just that if you turn in a smidge of a second too late, you know, just a few feet, you're in the wet, and then it's impossible to get it back. And I can tell you from experience that when you come up on that corner, there's just no good reference points. It's almost impossible to see where you need to turn it in. Following along now with the psychedelic livery of Tyler Agostino in the Thonk Motorsports powered by Bayer car. These folks race regularly in the Beer League series. They have a great time. And as you can see, they're not too shabby behind the wheel, even though they like to do it with beer in their hand on Wednesday nights. And you can see in the background Zach Rubin in the Hitman Emporium car trying to chase him down. Gained a few tenths on the last lap, but gonna have to do a little better than that.
How much closer is this gonna get? So much trail braking through Oak Tree that it was right on the threshold of activating the brake lights that just blinked a second for Tyler Agostino. It's just very gently tickling the brakes to help the car turn. Ruben gets way closer through the roller coaster and through the hog pen. Oh, but then runs wide off the final part of the exit. We've seen the Mustangs work well with a wide line around turn 1, and that's what Tyler Agostino's still doing. Doesn't seem to lose any time from doing that, and seems to avoid the little bump that is unsettling, particularly in the slipperier conditions. Ruben's back close again. This time it's the Porsche taking the wider line through Oak Tree as Agostino stays a little bit tighter in the Mustang.
Right in the wheel tracks this time.
Track temps come up just a tiny bit. But there's rain about half an hour away. Is the left-hand side of the road the way to go into the roller coaster? Around the outside, in the wet and the marbles. Offers no grip for Zach Ruben. Tyler Agostino staying on the dry line is difficult to pass.
I thought he was going to make that work. He didn't quite get there when it came time to turn back right, but he looked like he had a fair shake of pace on Agostino in that Thonk Motorsport car. And he's closing down on the straights. He'll have to find his way back to the rear bumper again to have a chance. Interesting, you see him about a half a car width wider at NASCAR than Tyler is ahead. Both drivers working for it. Coming up on some lap traffic here. That's LF Racing's Edgar Fuentes. And tricky to pass through the upper S's. Good line from Zach Ruben, gets him right to the rear bumper. Ruben's going to be rejoining on the right, 3 wide for a moment as Zach dives it up the inside into Oak Tree here. Nicely done. Third place there by Ruben. And we'll see if he's able to carry that top speed advantage down the straightaway once again, or if it was all just a mirage of the draft. Looks like Tyler's closing up just a little bit.
Call dibs on the dry line through Oak Tree, and once you've got that, it works out very nicely. So he's back up in third. Their battling had cost them just a tiny bit of time. Backflip boys and 24:30 behind them have been quicker 1 or 2 laps in a row, but it's still sort of 15 and 20 seconds behind this podium fight.
It's calming down out there on track. This is the tightest battle at the moment, the one we're following here between Ruben and Agostino. If you haven't been following the timing at hjbc.live, then you might not know that our leader, Chris Beats, in a SimCity racing car, has managed to open up about a 45-second gap to the young guns, with Cash Savage behind the wheel now. in second place. Savage took a few laps to get up to speed, but is running pretty well, actually faster than the leader last time by, though the fastest lap of the race is still held by our leaders overall. Of course, we got Ruben and Agostino in third and fourth place. We've been following them. Fifth place belongs to the backflip boys, the non-backflipping half, I believe, just entering the back straightaway as we see here. They're about 15 seconds back of Ruben and Agostino and about a minute and 15 back of our leaders. The pace has been good here, but the slow start and a couple issues in the wet has made it hard on them. Behind we got Sebastian Day, the Canadian hope in this race, doing his part for 2430 Esports, running some decently quick laps himself, and he's about a minute 20 off the lead. In seventh, we got Drive Trainer Motorsports. This looks like the Emerald Edition. That's Jake Var. He's still running. Has lost a little bit of time relative to that battle ahead, but has managed to grow the gap back to Nicholas Wallenberg after those two were having a bit of a battle earlier. Nicholas running in eighth. We'll watch Jake find his way past Nick Love. 4. Papa Love. Wallenberger now on screen. That's maybe my vote for livery I would be most likely to have on an actual car of the day. I'd like me some purple stripes. It's a cool look. Behind him in ninth, we've got a lap break because the leader's there, and then Bowie Suin in the Drive Trainer Carbon vehicle. Coming around Hogpen this time. 10th place, we got Andy Cossack driving a lonely little race, another lap back. And 11th, Tim Wire in that Rubber City Performance, hoping this pit strategy play works out for him after going to wets the second time. 12th place is Alex Harrison in the huge ass Mustang, avoiding drama after the drama on the front straight. Closely followed by Zach Rubin, trying to get some laps on him. 13th place, we got Zach Balthazar in the Balthazar Motorworks car. A little bit displaced after that contact with Nick Love, Papa Love. 14th place, we've got LF Racing and Edgar Fuentes. Finding his way around out here. I think they might have found the traction control switch on that car. 15th, we've got the vehicle of Thomas Love, who's gone about as long as possible on the first fuel stop, and is now running. We're expecting to see the other half of that team jump in for the second stint. I want to say that the other half of the team Thomas Love is Charles Kowalczyk. Yeah, that's right. Running in 15th place right now. 16th, we got Sean Fritz in the Moo Cow Legitimate Racing Mustang. And in 17th, just ahead of him, is Nick Love, having served a penalty after that contact with Balthazar, putting him down to the bottom of the running order. So, as we come to the halfway point in this 3-hour endurance race, those are your standings. We'll have to see what comes as we look ahead to the second half. As always, a big thank you to ChampCar for supporting the series and supporting the racing that we see here. $200 champ bucks on offer to first place in the race today, with another $200 going to the season-long winner, in addition to all the prizes that are on offer for the ChampCar iRacing Sprint Series. And we'll have to rejoin the action, because it looks like Zach Rubin has had a little issue at Oak Tree, along with the huge-ass car, and that has led to a change for position. So Tyler Agostino has gone and taken the spot back, taken third place back. And so we've had a change at the podium while I'm doing the field run down there. Haynes.
Yeah, a couple of drivers getting too hot into the Oak Tree. So also the car of Alex Harrison that were lapping also then got in a little bit hot, followed Ruben in. Tyler Agostino judged it better and got by both of them.
I don't think they might not see me. They might.
Oh, we see you there, Logan.
Oh!
Welcome to the
What's
broadcast.
up, gentlemen? I was just talking to myself as I do. How'd you do?
Well, we were curious actually to see how you're doing. It's feeling like a spicy race through the first half here.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun. The Mustang has been treating us pretty well. I was not mentally or physically prepared for the wetness this morning, but we definitely made it work. Had a few off tracks. I'm also streaming, so the multitasking snuck up on me a few times, but we're making it work. We're actually having a ton of fun, and honestly, running in 8th place right now, we're pretty stoked. So yeah.
What's the idea on how the Mustang feels to drive? In the first 15 minutes of the race, we didn't really see them being awesome. But right now,
we chose the Mustang not because we're not a fast team. We're out here for fun. We're definitely just out here for fun and to maybe light a fire under some of the cars' butts that are in the middle of the pack. So we chose the Mustang, again, not because of pace, but because we really enjoy the driving dynamics of it. However, when it gets wet, those driving dynamics definitely become a bit more of a handful. I feel like it's a pretty tail-happy chassis. I guess it also depends on the setup, but we have fun kind of wiggling around out there. But yeah, the wetness this morning definitely was... added a lot to that wiggle, but it was fun. We had a pretty clean start, so no complaints. It was definitely entertaining.
VIR versus Daytona. This is a little bit more the classic style of road racing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, definitely a change of pace from going from those high-speed, bowl bank turns to a bit more of a historic track. I guess they're both historic tracks, but I'm excited. The main reason I'm really enjoying this race is we're actually going to be at VIR for the national championship here in a few weeks, actually. It's under a month at this point. So I've never actually been to VIR, so this is a great way to sit down and get some laps in with hopefully some competitors that we'll see at the track here in the near future. Yeah, it's a really fun track. I'm really excited to see how our Miata, we run a Miata and ChampCar. I'm really excited to see how it handles this track compared to a Mustang GT4. I'm sure it's a very, very transferable experience.
This is pretty captivating here. You reckon Mr. Wallenberg's got a couple of positions coming his way soon?
Yeah, we'll see. He's been chasing down Jake for a while. We had a bit of an issue with our pit stop. It happened to us at Daytona too. I don't know what's going on, but basically one of us, I think it's maybe if we get out of the car and then the other driver also clicks the pull out driver at the same time or something, it kind of bugs the game out. So our pit stops, it takes a while for the game to catch up that there's no one in the car. So we're losing maybe 5 seconds sometimes when that happens. So it's a bit of a bummer to see Jake kind of walk away from us, but Nick's been doing a really good job of closing the gap, especially as the track's been drying out. Nick's definitely a hot shoe driver, so I'm definitely getting my popcorn out. We're gonna see what happens here. Hopefully it's some clean racing, but it looks like he's going for it here. Crossing my fingers. Whoa, in the water.
Still a couple of puddles there that just make things challenging on the banana front straight, but that looks like Project Safe Stangs up in a 6th. There's some other pit stops are going on. We'll get to that and say thanks for joining us, Logan.
Yeah. Cheers. Thanks for having me. I always enjoy chatting with you, gentlemen. So good luck with the rest of the broadcast, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
past the halfway point of this 3-hour race, getting a second wave of pit stops, including SimCity Racing, where Chris Beats, who's done all the work so far, hands over to Ryan Puchtel for huge ass. Ooh, that's a little reminiscent of what they've done before. Too hot into Oak Tree, wide and around, but out of the wall. So Ryan Puchtel joins the race. Thonk Esports still have Tyler Agostino. 2430 still have Sebastian Day. They've just gone back out on track. Zach's Hitman Emporium. Zach Rubin has driven the whole way so far in the lane. So a backflip, boys. It's been Bueller all the way there. LF Racing back here. And that is a driver change at the number 12. Kevin Zhu is in now. Backflip Boy's car is not up on the jacks. Only been there 10 seconds. The tyre change won't be done yet. LF Racing away overshot their pit stall. So Bueller's gone just a little splash of fuel. And I swear that looks like he's almost kept the same tyres on. No? Maybe I'm seeing that pit stop wrong. No, I don't think I am seeing that wrong from the backflip boys. An interesting little pit stop. We've got rain on the radar. Maybe that's the point, is they just fueled that thing to get to their next pit stop, which they think might be not too far away. With rain inbound. Definitely a tyre change going on at Project Save the Stang, but maybe not at Drive Trainer Motorsports. Yeah, look at the Mustangs stay down on the ground as well from Carbon.
Curious. Now on my overlay, I'm seeing fresh tires, but I'm not sure what to believe, my eyeballs or the overlay. The timing screen often knows best, but it sure didn't look like that Mustang got, or that car got lifted up.
No, I don't think Carbon did. Carl Shook drives out. Young Guns pitted from second. Keegan Allen back in. That's still ongoing. Now it's done. Basically the full service. LF Racing have gotten themselves a black flag somewhere. Either on the pit entry or the pit lane speed, or reversing on pit lane as far as they did.
Oh, and you know what, Haynes, it's the instant limit that's got them out on that one. So don't have the usual iRacing black flag rules in effect, but if you manage to get yourself 50 X's, then you've earned it. Ooh, and we're seeing a little bit of drum on the front straight right away, right here. I think that was Thomas Love that was facing the wrong way. And Andy Cossack in the Slowered Expectations vehicle that has to take some evasive action. We'll see it here. So on the exit, just gets a little wiggle, does Thomas Love, and it was actually Tim Wire in the Rubber City Performance car that was briefly 3 wide with the both of them, as Love rejoins on the left, and Cossack comes to the pit lane. It's a little bit of an exciting outlap there.
So, with rain inbound, my guess on the radar is about 20 minutes. And the fuel stints have been closer to 45 to 50 minutes. Some teams have short fueled, so it looks like SimCity, short fueled. It looks like Thonk Esports, short fueled. Young Guns are back in third, having taken all of their fuel. And Backflip Boys also a short fuel and stayed on the warm tyres. So that's what's going on here for third and fourth. It'll probably come back to Young Guns at the next stop if they've got more fuel on board right now. But it means that they are struggling just a little bit at the moment, having spent a tiny bit more time on pit lane and having a bit more weight of fuel on board. Thonk Esports get some track position, and Backflip Boys fastest car on the circuit last lap.
Yeah, traditional wisdom would tell you want to be lighter for longer. So we're seeing something here. Now, Bueller staying in the car here actually means I think that he'll be coming up against the 2-hour drive time limit. So he will, rain or not, have a hard cap on how long he can be in that car. So that team's definitely banking that the fuel's going to work out for them. So we'll have to see how that calculation figures. Bueller, meanwhile, going to put some pressure on Keegan Allen, who's freshly back in that Young Guns car after a stint from Cash. It looks like the Young Guns are alternating stints today. Zach Balthazar behind him might be a lap down, but he has shown pace at different points during this race. Just unfortunate victim of an accident there earlier on. So he'll be happy. Oh, and we see the Young Guns have a little bit of an issue there on the exit at turn 1. No contact, but they're facing the wrong way. And Keegan Allen, I don't know if he found a wet spot or just found the throttle pedal a little bit more aggressively than he can do. These Porsches have a little bit more power than the go-karts he might be used to. And he's going to have Kevin Zhu and Zach's Hitman Emporium sneak by him from 5th place. And Zhu is a driver we've seen before, a guy with a fair bit of pace. So Keegan will not just lose some time on track, he'll also have to find his way past if he wants to have a shot. So significant change there at the front end of the pack. And even with all the pit stops and sort of chaos we've seen through the first hour and a half of this race, seems like we got all the cars stacked up almost on one end of the track. There's a lot of drama. Zhu looking supremely confident right now, using every inch of the racetrack as he holds on to that spot. Another victim of the rain deeper in the field, Logan Sennhauser, got the thing wrong at NASCAR in the Mustang. And so he's lost a handful of time there to LaShawn Dilworth. We'll see it here. Logan getting caught out by what seems like the corner that's catching everyone out. He'll make the turn in here. And as he gets into NASCAR, the thing just gets a little loose, correct it, and out on the grass. Luckily, VIR has all the runoff in the world. You do that at Daytona and you're going to be looking at a repair, but not here at VIR. Meanwhile, Zhu is still holding the spot against Keegan Allen after Allen had that incident one lap ago coming out of the first turn.
Yeah, it cost about 10 seconds. Tiny bit more. Because before the most recent round of pit stops, Young Guns were only 15 seconds ahead of whoever it was that was in third at the time. It was kind of going back and forth between Thonk and Zach's Hitman Emporium here. So it's time they couldn't quite afford to lose. They were only moderately settled into second place, and it ended up about 30 seconds behind the race leader. Now SimCity Racing have a 47-second lead. Alex Harrison, second pit stop of the race for the incredibly miserly Mustang.
Yeah, fuel economy, not the brand trademark you would have expected from the Mustang, but they make it work here in the GT4 series.
Less Mustang GT4, more Mustang EcoBoost 4.
Right.
Look at legitimate racing into South Bend. A lot of apex curb. That rear sliding and putting them into a tough spot.
Honestly, again, he's done a good job to keep it off the wall. It's drying up out there, but it's still hard to get the car to slow down once you hit the grass.
Driver change in that 337 Mustang. Harrison out, Giovanni Romano in. Did you see it go up on the jacks? I can't remember.
I think that was just fuel, no tires. We'll have to see. And Alex Buehler released once again from a battle with these two that we have on screen. We just switched to Buehler, but released once again has managed to put in a couple really fast laps. 55.2 last time by actually makes him quicker than the leader at this point. And Kevin Zhu still holding off Keegan. But Keegan put lots of pressure. No fear as he gets into the roller coaster. Straight lining hog pen like a vet. Very nice. These two are now starting to close in on Zach Balthazar. In that red Porsche we're just seeing at the front of the shot, foreground of the shot a few times here. Lap traffic always playing a part. Oh no, what have we just seen there? I think that's Aaron Reed in the Slower Expectations car. With Slowered Expectations hitting the wall there, we've got a yellow flag out on track. And this will be a significant one. A lot of interesting pit strategies just starting to play out. And the iRacing safety car is out on track and flying. We'll see him coming through NASCAR here.
I think it's trying to get ahead of SimCity Racing. It was kind of touch and go where the leader was, where the safety car was.
Yeah, and I think the safety car does want it. I see Puckdall starting to slow up. and that thing had some angle in it as it came flying out of the pits. That was wild. Puckdall knew his match. He lets that iRacing Kirkland brand, oh no, this is a BMW, come by and make make its way to the front of the field, and they'll all start packing up.
Everyone who says that the BMW M2 CS Racing understeers and has a numb front end, pay attention to the safety car driver, all right?
Yeah, he'll show you how to do it. That's impressive. And as the drivers get packed up here, it's going to be interesting to see how this shapes the complexion of the race. There'll be a couple teams that are grateful for the yellow, I think, having not done a driver change just yet. Taken a quick scroll through the field. I think I count at least 3. Maybe 4 with the wire mobile being the last one I've counted there. So by my math, I think I've got the backflip boys, the Thonk Esports boys, the Balthazar Motorworks boys, and the Rubber City Performance Car all needed to make a driver change in the next 10 minutes or so. Otherwise, they'll fall afoul of the drivetrain or the driver change rules. And indeed, we're seeing a couple of those cars hit the pit lane. I got Agostino, Bueller, and Bueller hitting the lane for sure. Sebastian Day in the 2430 esports car also doing that. And a few more cars opting to stay out. Not pitting means that they can access the wave around potentially. So once that all sorts out, we'll get them going the right way. One more late taker on the pit lane is Tim Wire. So coming from halfway back through the field, or half a lap or more down, some of these guys, they're doing what they can to try and regain the lead lap while making their change. Thonk Esports is going to put Ron Wolf in the car for a second stint here. We got Alex Crawford, the flipping half of the backflip boys, taking the wheel for the backflip boys. Sebastian Day is going to carry on in the car after Mac Franciselli did the first stint. Sebastian's going to carry on. Canada's last hope in the race. Also, maybe its only hope. And even after half a lap of, or a full lap of safety car, we've still got cars that are catching up to the back of the field and making their way past the leader or the pace car on the field as these wave rounds get themselves sorted out. And it's an advantage to be waved around here at VIR, but it's a long lap, and so even with that, the safety car has its lights out by the looks of things, and so the wave round cars are going to get some time back, but they're not going to get it all back before the caution flag potentially ends here. And as a reminder, we threw that caution because we saw the Slower Expectations car take a big trip into the wall and have to tow itself back to the pits. We're setting ourselves up with an hour and a half left, an hour and 5 left of racing. weather on the horizon. And 6 cars all packed up in the top 6. And I think we've got a driver change from almost everyone, but there is one car that still hasn't, by my count, and I think it's that Balthazar Motorworks car piloted by Zach Balthazar. The leaders are coming onto the front straight. Pace car is pulled in, and we're getting ready for a restart here, Haynes.
Yeah, Ryan Puckdall's holding 50 miles an hour. The green flag is back out with an hour and 4 minutes left to run in the ChampCar iRacing. 3 hours of VIR leading the way. Ryan Puckdall for SimCity Racing. Then Zach's Hitman Emporium, Kevin Zhu. Young Guns, Keegan Allen. Donk Esports Motorsport, Ron Wolf. Backflip Boys, Alex Coffard. 2430 Esports, Sebastian Day. And Rubber City Performance, Ian Giebler, our top 7. The rest of the cars on the other side of the track having been waved around on the lap coming towards the restart.
Yeah, and it's a tight pack. 7 cars, 6 cars all in, with Ian Giebler just hanging off the back in the Rubber City Performance car. And Ryan Puckdall, who I have on good authority is nicknamed Rocket, is leading from the front of the field.
Oh, that's way off the road at South Bend for fourth, fifth, and 6th.
That was Cofford trying the wide line.
I think Ron Wolf led them there and they all followed him. Sebastian Day was first to get back on the pavement, and he moved up 2 spots. Backflip Boys Alex Coffard making up just the 1 spot.
Our top 3 are glued together, and our next 3 are glued together. And we'll see how long it lasts, and it just keeps getting darker out there, Haynes. The radar tells me that the water ain't too far away.
No, not far away at all. And when it arrives, it's going to come from the hog pen end of the racetrack first.
Yep. That'll be... Yeah, that'll probably be where the water starts to hit. And there's not only hog pen, but roller coaster over there. That roller coaster could be really sketchy if you come up on it and find out the hard way that it's wet. So these drivers will have to be keeping their eyes out and maybe listening to their teammates on the radio. I don't know how hard it's coming, but you can definitely see that it's coming.
I think it's going to go from 0 to 100 very quickly. There are a couple of cars actually that have looked like they've gone to wets. So I think Legitimate Racing have gone early to wets. Love Racing 647 have gone early to wets, and Rubber City Performance stopped under the caution and have gone to wet tires.
Interesting. And I think if you're Rubber City Performance, you're hoping that the yellow goes 1 lap longer, because when they made the decision to pit, they won't have known if it's going to be a restart the next lap or not. But you're hoping that it goes 1 more lap, and then you're in really, really good shape. As it is, they'll lose some time, but I think it might still be shorter than a full stop. Depends on how fast the rain comes down. watching on board with Kyle Shook, or from the battle between Kyle Shook and Zach Balthazar.
Balthazar goes ahead and into 10th.
Yeah, nicely done. Now, I'm curious to see if this will stick for long. Because by our math, yeah, as expected, Balthazar is going to have to hit the pit lane to respect that 2-hour drive time from the ChampCar rules. Of course, in the real world ChampCar series, you can only do 2 hours behind the wheel. And in the Sim series, it is the case as well. So Balthazar opts to push it as long as possible. And you got to think that they're going to go for 4 tires and that they might be 4 wet stains.
Yeah, and the 337 in after just 6 laps, 7 laps. Are they considering the same thing? Romano not long into the car. And at Balthazar Motorworks, Bill Woods is in. And I'm seeing new slicks.
Oh,
Not sure. I'm definitely seeing new wets for Giovanni Romano.
I am seeing, yeah, Gio, an experienced racer, and a quick one at that. So he might be making a sneaky move here, but unfortunately for him, I'm just not seeing any of that water in the area yet, Haynes. You can see it on the radar, not seeing it on the track.
Well, it's coming, and Kevin Zhu's coming for the lead of the race into turn 1. He's putting the pressure on Ryan Puchtel. Chris Beats has had that number 71 looking untouchable for the first half of this race.
Yeah, I'd say his roughest moments were in the wet, but of course everyone was struggling then. But Zhu is a driver who we didn't see much of this season, but he's had some races with us where he's been real quick in previous seasons. So I'm not too surprised to see him putting pressure on Rocket there.
There was an AFL coach with the nickname Rocket, Rodney Eade.
Oh.
And it was because he had a habit of blowing up.
Oh no!
So many a player was on a receiving end of a spray from the Rocket.
Oh, you guys talk a whole different language down there, don't you?
They're pulling away from the Young Guns despite that battle. So SimCity Racing and Zach Hitman's Emporium, they're getting further away. That's rain.
That is rain. Now they're making it through Hog Pen and roller coaster with minimal issues right now, and it looks like Puchtel's going to carry on for an extra lap here.
Yeah, you get away with it when it just begins raining because your tires keep heat. You've built heat into them and they hold on to it. The racetrack's built a little bit of heat and will hold on to it. So the track temp was up sort of 5 or 6 degrees higher than air temperature, having begun below air temperature because it was so wet. And so you'll just now very quickly see that track temperature drop away, the tire temp will drop away. And by about the end of this lap, far more of the track is going to look more wet and more slippery, but it's not necessarily always immediate. It can take 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes.
Yeah, seeing rain on just about every corner of the track now. This storm is rolling in real fast.
Balthazar, after their pit
exactly
stop,
right.
Bill Woods is going to pull out of the way of Ryan Puchtel and Kevin Zhu. They head up through the S's where things are just getting a tad slippery. The rain's reached that part of the racetrack too, and by the time they get to Hog Pen again, the rain will be even heavier there as the first bits of rain begin to reach the opposite side of the racetrack, like NASCAR and like Oak Tree.
Position on track, where were you? All that stuff. is gonna come to roost here for a few of these cars. Colin Lounsbury, LF Racing, hits the pit lane from 14th, 16th, and our leaders are too wide. Ryan Puckdell under pressure from Kevin Zhu into roller coaster this time. How wet is it? Zhu's finding out. It's not that wet. He takes the spot, gets it mowed down, and easily takes the lead. But now, Puckdell's got the advantage because he gets to see, is Zhu going to take the lane or no? Looks like that answer's no for Zhu and yes for Puckdell. And it'll be interesting. Where's the crossover? Who's got the heat?
Rest of the field up the pointy end going to stay out another lap, but SimCity Racing have Backflip Boys following them in as LF Racing, as you said. Thonk Esports are going to go for some wet tyres. I think I saw the windscreen wiper on the safety car there.
Yeah, it's rolling in fast here. Gio Romano's going to get a lap back in 12th place after stopping early for tires.
Feels like it was just 2 minutes ago I was talking about it, but the track has lost all of its temperature. So when it very, very first starts raining, there's heat in the track, the rain falls and then evaporates, but then eventually enough of it falls, it cools off the track, and then it sticks, and then it holds, and then there's a sheen over the surface, and then the puddles begin to increase, etc., etc. So it's increasingly tough to stay out there on the slick tires.
There's a driver change at the front. Chris Beets is back in the car right after Puckdell came in and did a few laps. And I guess the SimCity boys prefer Chris Beets' form in the wet. So they get Beets right back in the car. Cofford on the rear bumper. And that'll be 8th and 9th on the track. And it's wet everywhere now, Haynes. No puddles yet. But if you're on wet tires, you're feeling pretty good.
It's all about the lap times. So need to see someone complete one. Headlights come on. It is getting dark like that, but everyone's coming into pit lane. So from the lead, Zach Hitman's Emporium in 24:30, stay out. Young Guns in. What's the lap time from 24:30? Felt like the crossover was like 1:58 or 2 minutes or so. And 24:30 to 1:59. So they've already lost more than 5 seconds a lap. And by the end of this lap, wets will be quicker. So I think everyone changing now has stayed out as late as they dared and have made the correct decision about now. 24:30 may come to regret that. Everyone who changed 2 laps ago was a little early, but now they're on the right tyre. So the highest running car on wets now is Rubber City Performance.
And it's come back to them. They might have got it wrong the first time, but it looks better the second time around.
And Tim Wire joins us from that team. You'd be pretty happy with your strategy decision 7 laps ago?
This day has been a roller coaster, as I'm sure you guys have seen.
That's the final turn.
Fair enough. I see what you did there. Ian was looking at the radar and he said, man, it's going to rain. And I'm like, hey, it's your call. You can see it. I'm driving. And he said, let's put on wets. And I said, okay. So the question is if everybody else is going to have enough fuel to make it to the end by stopping here. I don't know. We definitely won't, I don't think, as early as we had to stop there. And we were a lap from being out of fuel when that caution came out. So it all fell right into place for us there. He's got a car spinning in front of him. Yep.
Yeah, it looks like it's coming down real hard out there. I think catching some of these drivers out. I've seen huge ass. I've seen a couple cars off.
I can believe it. I mean, I'm watching from Ian's cockpit right now, and it is raining. There's puddles starting to form again. The dry line's gone.
Yeah, it came in hard and fast, and it doesn't look like it's going to stop. Not
that's
for
what I'm
a little
hoping.
bit. Yeah. Now you folks been putting in a pretty good race. The first switch to the wet tires, or the choice to stay out on the wet tires, was that intentional? Was that a mistake?
It was an intentional mistake. How about that? We thought the track was going to stay wet. Like, we talked about it. I'm like, I don't know, man. It's there's a dry line foreman, but this is only our second time running a rain race, the first being our last race of the season in the regular season. So we're still very new to this rain racing. And then once I got back out there and I saw the lap times that they were running, I'm like, I think I was running a 2.0, and I'm like, I can't go any faster on these tires. We've made a mistake here, but it's okay. We're learning.
Hey, sometimes you get lucky.
Amen.
Yeah. Oh, curious. And so we've got all but one car onto the wets now, and it looks like the Sebastian Day piloted car is staying out in the dry. What does your rubber expertise say about that?
That's an interesting strategy. Their last lap looks like it was a 2:15 to our 2:07. So this is almost the reverse of what we were running into earlier, where we kept having to debate to ourselves, as much time as we're losing, does it make sense to stop versus staying out? And I think we calculated we were going to lose like 120 seconds or more by staying out. That's why we decided to make that extra pit stop that kind of cycled us out okay. Like I said, our fuel's not as good as everybody else's, but if they have to make one more stop, we're still close.
What can you tell me about Rubber City Performance?
Yeah, it's actually a company I started a couple years back now, and I'm really starting to ramp it up here. So I've been involved in data acquisition and race cars for, I don't know, at least 15 years now. With Team Sailing, I started with them, and I've done a couple of other odds and end things. And I got to this point where I was like, I should just go become a Motec dealer, as much as I've worked with Motec and how great I think their equipment is. So this past April, I ended up doing that. So I'm officially a Motec dealer. I'm also a dealer of Autosports Lab, which they actually just released their new version of their race capture that is gonna be just a really phenomenal little piece of equipment. A lot of neat features coming out with that I'm sure if you've followed any of the endurance racing, Brent from Autosport Labs has been posting a lot of that. So really neat stuff. I'm excited to get that in some cars and see how it works. And I've been doing a lot of work with Motec integration with their telemetry system too. They have a complete cellular telemetry system that runs through their Podium app. It's a really neat setup too. And I'm working on testing it on some Motec stuff and seeing what we can do there.
Well, sounds like exciting stuff ahead, but exciting stuff on track too. So we'll have to say goodbye.
Absolutely.
And good luck to you for the rest of the race here, man.
Yeah, thanks guys. Hopefully we'll be talking at the end of this thing.
Cheers. And holy, David Haynes, did things get spicy there for a moment. The Young Guns taking a trip off track and stacking up. Chris Beats and Kevin Zhu there, third, fourth, and fifth, all battling on top of each other. Second, third, and fourth even.
Yeah, so Chris Beats back into the race. The Young Guns moving back up into second place, 24:30. Eventually had to make that stop, but critically, they've brimmed their fuel tank and gone to wet tyres at about 48 minutes to go. Does that mean that's their final stop done? And everyone else still needs one little trip through the lane. We were getting a little bit of an idea of that from Tim Weil. So now Rubber City Performance lead by about 20 seconds. The Young Guns are flying along. They've got SimCity just behind them as they've gone past Zach's Hitman Emporium. Backflip Boys in fifth. 24:30 have gone onto their wet tyres and come out in sixth. Ahead of Thonk, Project Save the Stang by SRT, and the Drivetrain and Motorsports cars are on 9th and 10th at the moment. Oh boy. Way off wide from Team Thomas Love, I think.
Yeah, it's chaotic out there. There's cars off track all over the place. The water is coming back, and it's accumulating much faster. There's more down now than there was right at the start of the race, I think.
Problems for the 17.
Some puddles. Oh yeah, what do we got there?
We got damage because
we got a car upside down.
Bend.
It's Ron Wolf in the Thonk Esports car. Let's put the thing on its roof. See if we can get a shot of that.
Whoa, that's massive.
Yeah, that was a huge hit there, and the yellow comes out after that accident, and so we'll see. It's going to have significant implications, which is when we thought that we were starting to get this pit strategy figured out. The safety car comes out again and changes it all. And we'll have to see if we can catch up on a few of these incidents that were occurring there.
Yeah, so we saw the meatball for backflip boys. My goodness, I've said it fine all day until just then. And then Donkey Sports, the best running Mustang. Going hard into the wall, a little pirouette on its axis. Front bumper comes off, which is weird because normally Ford Mustangs, it's the diffuser and the rear deck lid that comes off. That did big damage to Thonk, and the track now looks wetter than it ever was, even at the start of qualifying.
Yeah. Well, and I got to think that under the yellow flag conditions here, the wet is going to make these tires real cold. This pace lap, these couple pace laps potentially. So I'm kind of wondering how our drivers are going to handle that.
Don't think our safety car is going to have to push quite as hard now. It's waiting for the leader.
Yeah. Now, I am seeing a few cars on track that are pushing to try and catch up to the leader, but that are stuck behind some slower cars. So it's challenging times out there for everyone. Kevin Zhu is an example of that. He's not going slow. He's going off the track. He went off the track at Oak Tree under yellow here. And you see him, he gets hydroplaning. And the drivers will have a chance to spot where the puddles
Roller
are.
coaster there, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that is the roller coaster. What am I talking about? But yeah, this will give drivers a chance to see what's going on. And man, this is getting biblical. This is some serious rain.
Sebastian Day joins us from 2430. Interesting strategy call for you guys again, just trying to stay out on those slicks as long as possible.
Yeah, so that was my choice here because we noticed everybody was pitting in front of us, presumably filling up fuel at that time. So if I extended by that 2 laps, which I did, it was definitely a struggle. I've saved it like 3 times. We have enough fuel to make it to the end. So if this caution didn't come out, we think we would have been able to move up a couple positions because some of the guys in front of us sort of had to pit.
That answers it. I think that was the strategy that we were imagining from up here, and it looks like this caution's come out in the nick of time.
Yeah, just a rough luck there kind of caution. We think we could have been up a few positions by the end, but we'll see what we can do now.
Now, concerned at all about folks seeing less fuel burn under the rain here? Caution notwithstanding?
Sorry, pardon. It cut out a little bit for me.
So under caution, obviously you're going to burn less fuel, but in the rain you're going to burn less as well. So do you think that folks might still be able to make it to the end?
Yeah, we think here? We think now for sure everybody in front of us should be able to make it to the end. We'll see. I'm not sure what exactly their fuel levels are at, but yeah, it's been unfortunate for us now. Well,
bold strategy call. Doesn't quite pay off the way you're hoping, but you got tires that are a few laps fresher, and you've got a shot here. It looks like as we come into this final stint.
Yeah.
If you guys manage to drive your way through the field, got any thoughts about where you're going to go racing with ChampCar?
No, I don't know. Yeah, we're just kind of trying to figure this car out and stuff, so we'll see.
Yeah, well, good luck there, man, and here's hoping the rain gods smile upon you in the second half here.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
That was Sebastian Day with 2430 Esports explaining their strategy call and the bad luck that unfolded for them. As we come to the start-finish line, we'll start to see what people opt to do. We got Rubber City Performance hitting the lane with their early pit stop. They are likely short on fuel, going to need to top up. Looks like the rest of the field is largely going to stay out, though. Alex Crawford and the Backfoot Boys are hitting the lane, maybe for a splash and go. And otherwise, oh, the Backfoot Boys have a meatball. So they're actually recovering after an incident earlier on. I think we might have caught it in the middle of all that chaos before this caution. Either way, a quick repair, fast repair, and a bunch of fuel. And they get lucky after Thonk Motorsports manages to put a Mustang on its roof. Oh yeah, and it looks like it was just on the exit of turn 9 at the top of the hill, right after the upper S's, where they managed to acquire that meatball. Gio Romano in the huge ass Mustang is also going to hit the pit lane. And so after stopping a bit early to go to wets, Gio is going to stop and take a splash of fuel to get himself ready to go to the end as well. And so, with 38 minutes to go, and the rain falling, the wave rounds are starting, and the leaders are going to get themselves all packed up for one final dash to the finish. And lights are out on the pace car. We're going to be expecting drivers to be stacking themselves up. Got a slower expectations that's coming from way out in the weeds.
They've got a meatball now.
Yeah, they've got a meatball because they were going through the upper S's after a wave by and managed to slide it out after hydroplaning through the upper S's. We'll see if we get a replay of it here. They get their wave by and they start gunning it. And it hasn't worked out for them. And I think we're a little far back. They were coming out of the lower S's when they got the wave around. And then as they reached the upper S's, they found one of the puddles that forms on the bottom, and you see it there. They get to hydroplaning, and there's just nothing you can do at that point. It's a guy who has personally crashed an automobile on the grass here at VIR. I can tell you that it feels real bad when you get to sliding. That car not looking too healthy, and I have a feeling they're just going to go hit the pit lane and get a repair rather than trying to chase that wave around. Love Racing is on the lane, getting service. And even our drivers that got a wave around are pushing but struggling. And it's water everywhere out there, Haynes.
Must be the water.
Yeah, something around here at VIR.
So it should be pace car in now, and it is. Young Guns lead the way from SimCity Racing and Zach's Hitman Emporium. You've got Project Save the Stangs, now the highest running Mustang there, and you can see Drive Trainer Motorsports number 4 has also snuck its way up the order in all the chaos of the safety cars and rain, and we go racing again with 36 minutes left at a sodden VIR. Oh, we're looking at a Cayman GT4 class on the timing column. No, we're not.
There's there's about 10 cars now, all within about 5 seconds of each other for the top position, and Ian Giebler has gone from 8th to 10th in the first couple turns here as he gets that thing up to pace. Gio Romano taking the 10th place spot away from him, and you can see not only is the water a factor, the spray is a factor at this point. It's very low visibility for these drivers.
Kevin Zhu's going to get ahead of Chris Beats before they carefully tiptoe their way up the S's.
Oh!
Not careful enough for the young guns. Keegan Allen into the wall. Tough to be the pioneer.
Yeah,
Big
sometimes you got to
damage.
learn things the hard way, and he's learned the hard way by taking the front corner off that car. I'm not sure there's a wheel on the left front. And that's Young Guns getting towed to the pit lane after ripping the front corner off the car. And the conditions out there proving very hazardous for our drivers. And our leaders are barely holding on, but with another car getting towed to the pits, the caution flag is going to hit once again. And we'll see if these guys can get the thing going as the pace car races out and neutralizes this race once again as these late November conditions strike and cause another one for us.
So now it's
Zach.
Zach's Hitman Emporium, Kevin Zhu and Zach who lead the way.
Max Franciselli was actually pretty successful during that one lap of racing, gaining 2 or 3 spots up to 3rd place. And so that fuel strategy hasn't worked out, but the pace on track has for those guys. And the rain just not letting up. And with 32 minutes on the clock, we're under yellow once again.
Yeah, I'm looking at if there's any chance that this lightens in the next 30 minutes, and not really. In the next 2 hours maybe, but in the next 30, no.
Yeah, I've seen ChampCar races get red flagged for this amount of rain, but luckily everything's free in the sim, so if they write them off, we'll let them keep racing.
Looking at who's got fast repairs left. Now there's some way to know.
There certainly was once. Not sure if the new overlay shows that.
I think if you're a administrator of the session and you look in ATVO, it'll tell you. But I'm not sure where I would look to see. I can see incident points as a administrator of the session. It's not always available to everyone.
Though I'm wondering if the young guns have managed to run out of fast repairs, Haynes, because they're
So
still
we're going to
sitting
get
on the lane.
some word on that. Okay, they'll have one left. Young Guns. Who's completely out?
We're getting the secrets from our producer here, and it sounded like slower expectations Love Racing, and I think the Young Guns just used their last one, Haynes. Sorry, their first one, so they'll have one more if need be. And 2 laps is our usual pace car window, so we'll be expecting that next time by we'll be going green, and the Young Guns are going to be racing the pace car, and they just barely get out ahead of them. So they're about as far back on the lead lap as you can be, but they've managed to stay on. I don't think they'll be able to get back up to the back of the field, but knowing some young guys in my time, I have a feeling they'll be trying. Got a few cars opting to hit the lane. Edgar Fuentes parking it sideways in the lane, and Legitimate Racing, Trenton McMillian behind the wheel. He's got it parked on the lane as well. Fuel and tires for LF Racing. Looks like fuel only for Legitimate Racing. Meanwhile, with the pack, Ron Wolf, after putting the car upside down, has managed to get back up into 11th place. Thanks to that second caution. Saw 2 drivers towing. So, race damaged, but not over. And we'll see if folks are able to keep the cars on track. Haven't had a lap or so to test the limits and learn where the big puddles are. And working hard under yellow here just to manage the restart. And as they crawl down the back straight, Cash Savage is coming through NASCAR. It actually might be interesting to get a camera on him to get a sense of what it looks like to race out here. Be about 25 minutes to go by the time they get to the line. You can really see that even just one driver hot lapping out here. He's hydroplaning at the apex. But rejoining the front of the field, that's lights out on the pace car, Haynes.
Yeah, here comes the group. Kevin Drew's leading. SimCity Racing, 24:30 behind. Project Save the Stang started from 12th on the grid today. And now the big Mustang is up into 4th place as we restart with 26 minutes to go. It's more than wet. It's more than sodden. It's more than damp. It's slippery. It's cold. And it's incredibly challenging at VIR as we restart. 14 laps to go, maybe less, probably almost certainly more like 12.
And I think we're both just holding our breath as we watch these drivers navigate some of the wildest conditions we've ever seen on the ChampCar series. Sprint, endurance, anytime. Chris Beats putting Kevin Zhu under pressure. That SimCity racing car has been at the front all day long, would like to get back to the front. It's hard to stay close, and both of them get the S's a little bit wrong. Max was flying up on the scene, had to take a big lift and a big break. Zhu's running wide. Chris looks to the inside, but the wet line is wide, and they're looking for those wet lines right now. Wherever you normally are is where you don't want to be in this kind of weather.
Yeah, everyone's looking to get off the slick part of the racetrack, so looking to the inside to break on a grippier part and then cross the slippery part of the racetrack through the turn and then try to find a grippy part to accelerate. Here comes huge ass Giovanni Romano in 6th versus Drive Trainer Motorsports BMW in 7th. Looks like Romano making a move. Your leader's off at the roller coaster, cutting through the grass, just avoids the barrier. But that's dramas for Kevin Zhu, who's going to look to rejoin. Chris Beats and SimCity Racing take the lead as braking too deep and losing control was Zach's Hitman Emporium and Kevin Zhu. Lucky to miss that tire wall.
Yeah, good on him to avoid it, but that's put him back all the way to 6th place, maybe 7th at this point. 7th it is. As they come to the line, SimCity Racing retakes the lead, and now it'll be Chris and Max racing 1 and 2 with Nicholas Wollenberger in the Mustang not far behind. The first Mustang, it must be said, in the field. It'll be curious to see how the different makes are performing in the wet here. Maybe Wollenberger's got something, though you wouldn't say that Mustangs are known for having a lot of control of the rear end. We see them drifting it around.
Videos of them leaving car meets in the dry, it's a struggle, let alone in weather like this. Just behind Balthazar Motorworks, looks like there's a group forming. So there's Ron Wolf, there's, I think, Lap Down LF Racing.
Haynes, I've got phenomenal news. There's 2 teams with Canadian components that have a shot in the top 5. We got the 2nd place, Max Francelli, 2430 Esports car, and then Gio Romano in 5th. Starting to put pressure on Nicholas Wollenberger and Alex Cofford.
And Kevin Zhu with the flag of St. Kitts and Nevis to make things interesting. This is our group going through the oak tree. 1st and 2nd have cleared out, and Franciscelli sees an opportunity. Then Alex Coffard for the backflip boys is up into 3rd. Project Save Stang, Nicholas Wollenberg there in 4th. Giovanni Romano, well, he dispatched to the BMW about here a lap ago. Now he's flying along again down the back straight. Is that a Mustang that's well built for the wet conditions? Is that how they've tried to set it up? Is that what they've been practicing and training? Because suddenly that thing is quicker than almost everyone else. Drive Trainer Motorsports back in 6th, just ahead of the recovering Kevin Zhu. Zach's Hitman Emporium. He'd be kicking himself after a mistake like that, leading the field on the restart and just overdoing it a little bit. Nicholas Wollenberg goes wide out of the hog pen, so he's going to be vulnerable down towards turn 1. He's getting squirrely even down the straight where the puddles are forming on the right-hand side of the road. Everyone's braking driver's right-hand side off the shiny rubbered-in part, just looking good braking performance, and Zhu's in hot. And
in the background, you could see Zhu shooting it through the braking zone and off the track. He was on the racing line, but that's where the puddles are. That's where it's slick. The rain bites again. And it's figure skates out there, Haynes. Every single car in the field is drifting, barely able to keep the thing pointed the right way. Our leader had a big moment in the lower S's just there. Managed to catch it, keep it pointed the right way. Tank slapper when he hit the curbs. And honestly, if you'd been practicing on dirt, you might have been better off for how much grip is out there right now. Just received an update that the Young Guns did actually use their 2nd fast repair during that stop. And Slowered Expectations is out of fast repairs as well.
wide from Alex Coffard exiting the oak tree, but it's behind that I think the most pressure is on in what I'm going to call the Mustang Cup, even though that's its own championship elsewhere in the world. Giovanni Romano up against Nicholas Wallenberg.
Yeah, I think the prize right now is third place for those Mustangs, unless something changes here right away. 20 minutes
Well,
to
it's
go.
a day and a weather for things changing. Like off the road for Chris Beats, 24:30 esports lead. The braking's been treacherous into the roller coaster, particularly when you're leading. But in this case, it's the curb and the puddle on the left exiting. Wallenberg's around at the hog pen. So Hugh Jass and Giovanni Romano are up into fourth. And they can't keep it on the road.
Yeah, I'm getting a shot of some of the carnage. Like I said, it's a good thing there's a lot of runoff here at VIR. These guys are trying it all out. These conditions making it necessary. And so, from failed fuel strategy to the lead. And Max is going to be holding on with Chris Beats bearing down. And for those wondering, we're running 2-minute 10s in the pouring rain out here at VIR.
Yeah, 2-minute 11, 2-minute 12, 2-minute 14 deeper in the field. Oh, that's heaps of curb from Francescelli. He's going to come under pressure again in that race lead. Going up through the climbing S's, he's made a meal of it, got the car all out of shape. Now he's wide and with a slide, and there's going to be overlaps. SimCity Racing are going to look to go the long way around the oak tree. Chris Beats will then try to cut back underneath, and the pressure's on for the race lead, and there are not that many laps left. At the top of the S's around goes Project Save the Stang again. So for the Sennhauser Racing team, it's gone from fourth to backwards, but this is a run from SimCity Racing, looking for the lead of the race. And he'll get down the inside, but it's a tough braking zone at the roller coaster. Oh, Alex Coffard has had rear lockup, and he's gone into the wall and done big damage to the backflip boys. Similar mistake to Kevin Zhu, except more severe consequences. I think that front left is in a bad shape. There's a meatball on the backflip boys.
Yeah,
Chris Beats leads.
I think he's gotten lucky that in the simulator there is a wall there, because otherwise he'd be in the forest with how he went off the track there. If he had done that in the real world. Kyle Shook is facing the wrong way after getting hog pen run as well. It's treacherous everywhere. And the backflip boys are trying desperately to make it to the pit lane without causing an accident, and they will. Just narrowly avoiding the penalty, I gotta think. Patient stuff.
Closest cars on track is fourth and fifth. Kevin Zhu is diving down the inside of LaShawn Young Dilworth and then backing out of it. He's trying to make up for what he lost earlier in this stint. Normally the ABS in these cars makes it difficult to lock a brake like that. But in the wet, you can just have a moment where the rear begins to slide out. Oh, how's that puddle? Ridiculous how much water there is.
Well, and if you're Kevin Zhu, you're thinking it's ridiculous how much spray there is, because you'd love to find the chance to get by LaShawn Dilworth in that Drivetrain Motorsports Emerald car. But the chances are few and far between when it's that blinding ahead of you.
The Emerald BMW is now the car with the most positions gained, +6 for Drivetrain Motorsports, but it could be about to go back to 5. Good run from the Porsche. Straight line speed in these wet conditions, kicking up the spray. So much spray. We'll get to the left-hand side of the road, but that's where the puddle is. Breaking into the roller coaster. This time he's picked it right, and he goes up back into 4th place.
Our leaders have closed back up. Max finding his way up closer to the rear bumper of Chris, especially on the way into roller coaster, seemed to have just dodged a puddle and managed to slow that thing down way easier. Still looking a little bit more confident on the brakes going into one. As we watched Max in the rain and Chris in the rain earlier, though, I have to say, I think Chris had the better line through the top of the upper S's, and Max still had the advantage in those other two corners, so it'll be interesting to see if they learn from each other and are able to find their way by.
Everyone who started this race is back out on track after 9 minutes and 40 seconds of repairs. Nick Love is back on track, and Charles Kowalczyk, after 15 minutes of repairs, is back on track. And you're a classified finisher with what, half of the leader's race distance?
Yeah, got to do at least 50% of the race distance, and it makes a big difference in the points championship here. Not just racing for 200 champ bucks today, but they're racing for 200 champ bucks at the end of the season. And a
The difference between
DNF,
17th and 99 is big.
yeah, 99 points for a DNF. So you'll want to make sure you finish them. And on a day like today, there's a lot of opportunities to make up time. I actually think that both the Love brothers, or both the Love teams, are on the same lap, so they've even got something to race for back there in 16th and 17th. We'll see it again. Seems like Max really gets a lot more out of the braking zone into roller coaster. SimCity hits that same puddle that sent them spinning last time, 2 times ago, but manages to make it work. Yeah.
Look who was a second quicker last lap, is only 2 seconds behind the leaders. Here comes Giovanni Romano in the Mustang as the two Porsches battle up front, looming large through the spray like a battleship in a storm comes the Ford Mustang. And he's all guns blazing.
Yeah, I told you, Gio is a quality driver. Don't get him here very often, but when he does, he usually puts in some quick laps.
You know, the drivers in all of the top 5 positions have unique flags. Chris Beats, USA, Max Francescelli, Italy, Giovanni Romano, Canada, Kevin Zhu, St. Kitts and Nevis, LaShawn Young, Dilworth, Jamaica. Ian Giebel is the first repeat in 6th with the American flag, but then Ron Wolf in 7th has got the iRacing flag. So it's everyone's day up front, and it continues to close up. Chris Beats gets about a second to Francescelli, but Romano's getting closer.
Yeah, it really seems like Beats is comfortable through the upper S's in a way that that Max can't really match. Meanwhile, Gio also hanging about a second behind him, and it definitely looks like it's going to be a 3-way battle for the lead as we come to 12 minutes remaining.
So an update on the weather. The air is cold. The track is cold. The humidity is near enough 100%, but the rain has lessened. It's past its heaviest. In fact, it's recording 0% in the pit lane.
Yeah, I think we are at a little break in the storm here, and I've actually just seen on the cameras the rain has stopped falling on some parts of the track. So it'll be a battle to the end here. Chris Beats isn't wasting any time. Gets a great run out of Hogpen that time, and it's 1.5 seconds at the line for him. 3 seconds back to Gio. Can SimCity Racing do the double, go back-to-back in the first 2 rounds of the ChampCar iRacing Enduro Series?
And if they did, it'd lock in a perfect score ahead of the final, because for the first 3 rounds, it's your best 2 results that count. Well, if you win 2 and you win the first 2, that's the best you could possibly do. Off the road and missing a rear wing. Touch and go for Giovanni Romano as he has to avoid Charles Kowalczyk?
Yeah, Charles Kowalczyk in the team Thomas Love entry.
Don't know if they've got a spare rear wing now, to be honest.
I think they don't. And you're going to be wishing you had one of those out there today. And the gap keeps growing at the front. Now 2.5 seconds for Chris Beats as they cross the timing line at the top of the hill.
Last lap was very impressive, 206.6 from Beats, whereas you look anywhere else through the field and it's 211s, 212s. It's just our top three off the road.
That's tough for Max. And the rain is coming back. It's just starting to drizzle once again, and maybe that caught Max out. A little bit of extra wetness at the oak tree. And it's 3 seconds from Chris Beats to Giovanni Romano now, with Max now 5 seconds off the leader.
Charles Kowalczyk's trying to stay out of the way of the drivers coming through. Sean Young-Dilworth there in 5th. Ian Giebler coming up in 6th.
It'll be another quick one this time.
Oh no. Massive accident for LaShawn Young-Dilworth. That braking zone at the roller coaster is so difficult, and he's just gone straight on. He's going to try to get back to pit lane.
Yeah, he might. He's back in the lane. He opts not to try and dive it across the track, and instead tows it to the lane.
You got to remember where they were in the championship as well. So Emerald was on the podium at Daytona, a 4th or 5th today, and you're still looking at. They would have kept probably 3rd in the championship and been absolutely in play coming towards the final round and the championship as a total. But now they are going to need their 3 hours of Road America in 2 weeks' time to be more promising than the way that today has come to an end for them.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see Road America in 2 weeks, and we'll see Sebring for the final on December 13th. So, a couple more exciting rounds of this endurance series, and things just keep heating up even as the rain keeps falling.
So, I think the story for these Porsche Caymans is once you're out of fast repairs, you're almost out of rear wings. Because there's the other Love Racing car without a rear wing. He is Rubber City. Or as I call it, Akron, Ohio. Big slide, but keeps it off the wall at South Bend. Go the Rubber Ducks.
Chris Beats has a world beater in that car right now. Last time by, has to take some evasive action through Hogpen to pass and lap traffic, and he still manages to put in the fastest lap of all the racers with a 206.7. 207 flat for Gio that time by. And Max Francescelli loses another 2 seconds. So things starting to spread out in the top few positions.
Thonk off the road. Ron Wolf. Oh, just loses the rear. It just snaps on him way before the hog pen. Just lethal. I think it's... Yeah.
Nothing to be done there, unfortunately. And the puddles keep growing. Oh. They keep growing, and they keep surprising the drivers, I think.
This measurement that I've got here says the track wetness is 67%, but I think it's more accurate to say that the water is only 2/3 racetrack. at the moment. Has Giovanni Romano got a bit of traffic there? He does. The race leader's also trying to work through some. Romano had his front bumper to the non-existent rear wing of Nick Love.
Yeah, and normally you'd like the draft, but I think today he wishes there was no draft. He tries to find his way in the rain. Oh, and can't modulate the brakes too much. And I don't know if Gio had anything else to do. Luckily, both were able to continue on. Can't modulate the brakes too much while you're in the rain.
There is 9 laps difference between that 6:47 and the battle for the race lead here. SimCity Racing are going to cross the line basically exactly as there's 5 minutes left. So it looks like that means 3 more laps. I'd be almost completely sure of it. Just behind them is the Backflip boys, who are 1 lap down. Rubber City Performance are off the road in 5th place. Don't know what's going on there for them. This is Balthazar.
We've lost Rubber City Performance.
Yeah, it's actually technical problems from Ian Giebler. Not necessarily a crash.
Maybe a crash of the computer, unfortunately, as far as I can tell.
This young gun's coming back for every spot they can get. Oh, and just gets a little mistake from Carl Schuck. He goes wide. Legitimate are already out there. Young gun's through in a 9th.
Yeah, just going back and reviewing the tape, it looks like Rubber City Performance just disappears into thin air. As will happen sometimes in these sim races. At the front of the field, this lap, Gio's managed to make up a 2nd. So now within 4, as they come through Oak Tree this time. So ebbing and flowing. I think some traffic playing a part too. And that confirms that we've just got a message in the server that Ian Keebler disconnected from the race. So that car will end up in the pit lane. And Wire hops in the car. Hate to see it, but that's one of those ones that just pops up from time to time. Our leader, meanwhile, continuing on. He's got a lot of lap traffic to get by. He's going past Tim Wire, the aforementioned Tim Wire, with Aaron Reed and Lowered Expectations just ahead. Gio Romano is catching up to this schmozzle as well. He's going to try and find his way through. And the rest of the field is tiptoeing their way around while our leaders try to tiptoe faster than each other, I'd say.
Olympic race walking. Yeah, tiptoeing, but as quickly as you possibly can. Traffic. Chris Beats goes around Aaron Reed. The lap down Backflip boys also come through. So Alex Bueller is up in 11th. He's actually not that far behind Drive Trainer, who are back out on track for his next spot for position. Now there's 2 lapped cars in between the race leader and Giovanni Romano in 2nd.
Battle for 7th or 8th and 9th is heating up. Cash Savage and the Young Guns trying to make a move down the inside of the front straightaway on the Drive Trainer Motorsports Carbon car piloted by Kyle Schuck. And Savage is going to make that move cleanly into the first turn, but the other half of the move is getting it stopped, and it's tough to do in these conditions, but he manages it. And so that'll be a move for position in the final minutes here. We'll rejoin the leaders.
Yeah, it's gone down by 1.5 seconds here. Only 2.3 and shrinking between Beats and Romano. We're going to get the white flag in a moment as they go through the roller coaster and then hog pen and then onto the start finish straight to begin the very final lap of the race. 2.3 seconds.
And a bit of a moment through Hogpen for the SimCity Racing car there.
Well, whatever they do, they've only got to hold on for one more lap because there's less than a minute on the clock. So it's going to be the white flag at the start-finish line. One more lap of VIR to decide the winner, to decide who's getting $200 of ChampCar credit to put towards their next real-world race entry and who's getting the glory and the championship points. 2 seconds between Chris Beats and Giovanni Romano. Both of them get by the traffic, no worries. So it's just them, the battle for the race lead, and the final lap of the race. It's now 22 laps since SimCity Racing last pitted, 17 laps since Huge Ass filled up their tank with one of the cautions. Is that the difference? The gap's down to 1.6 seconds. It's shrunk from 4 and quickly. Up the S's has kind of been a strength of the Porsches. Giovanni Romano is not shy. They weren't at race 1, so they're on a blank slate. It's underneath a second. Romano's closing this, and so quickly in towards the oak tree. He breaks what, 100 feet later? He's almost on the rear bumper of the Porsche now, exiting the oak tree. Can the Mustang get traction? Chris Beats is a little bit wide. You're kidding me. 3 hours of racing. We're on the last lap. SimCity Racing's lead is 0.3 of a second, and a gigantic Mustang is in their mirrors with 2 braking zones left to go, headed towards the roller coaster. How brave do you want to be in either of these positions? Chris Beats already with a win underneath their name. Romano needs every position they can get. It needs to be perfection from here to the end of the season. And he can't get anything done at the roller coaster. They'll head down to the hog pen, and you can't afford a mistake. The curbs are slippery, the grass is slippery, even the racetrack proper is slippery. Now, massive slide on traction for Chris Beats, but he's 0.8 of a second ahead, and he's managed to survive. Incredible pressure on the final lap. The checkered flag waves, and SimCity Racing are 2 wins from 2 endurance races in 2025 in the ChampCar iRacing series. Huge Ass and the Mustang arrive for second place, and 24:30 are going to be on the podium here at VIR.
2/3 of the podium Canadian. I could deal with that. David Haynes. Kevin Zhu is looking to bring that St. Kitts and Nevis flag to 4th place as he comes through Hogpen one final time, gingerly piloting the car around, and he'll get it onto the straightaway in this torrential downpour and take home 4th place. That's Zach's Hitman Emporium, 2nd place race 1, 5th place in race 2. We got Bill Woods. We got Ron Wolf in the Thonk Esports car now crossing the line in 5th. Sorry, I misspoke because he was in 4th. Balthazar Motorworks, Bill Woods behind the wheel to close on the final stint here. That's 6th place for them. Nicholas Wallenberg coming up the straight now in that purple and white Mustang, saving the Stang from 7th place. The Young Guns recovering after that late accident, took them out 8th place after an impressive drive all day long. And 9th place is Kyle Shook, and we have a 2-wide Mustang finished. They must be taking photos afterwards. And that is the final car on the lead lap for us. Woo! I blinked and that flew by, Haynes.
Yeah, from a wet start, a change to slicks, and then the rain came back and we finished in a treacherous VIR, a couple of safety cars, wet tyres all around. So SimCity Racing with the win. Huge Ass Mustang in 2nd, 2430 Esports in 3rd. Zach's Hitman Emporium have a 2nd and a 4th so far this season to their name. Thonk Esports Motorsports SimSports Racing powered by Beer finished 5th. And then Balthazar Motorworks in 6th. Project Save the Stang powered by Sennhauser Racing Team in 7th. Young Guns in 8th. Drive Trainer Motorsports Carbon 9th. Backflip Boys 10th. Drive Trainer Motorsports Emerald 11th. Rubber City Performance in 12th. They were a lap down, so was Legitimate Racing. Slowered expectations were 2 laps behind your leader. Another 2 laps behind that, so 4 laps behind the leader was LF Racing, and then that's 9 laps down for Love Racing, but they finished. And the other Love Racing car with Team Thomas Love was 10 laps down. But after all of that and damage many times to multiple cars, 17 start and 17 finish.
Ooh, and we got a hell of a finish there. That was good stuff. I think we've got some of the podium showing up here for their interviews. So I've got Max and Sebastian. After a little bit of drama around your pit stop, you folks were leading at one point in that final stint.
Yeah, that was a stressful one.
How did it feel as the rain just kept on coming?
It was kind of, I didn't know if I should take a risk battling with the guy in front or just sit there and let him make his mistakes. So I kind of just played it safe, kept it where I was, and just did what I could.
And it looked treacherous everywhere. How did it feel? Did it feel like the Porsche had the advantage there, or was it a Mustang-friendly sort of situation?
I haven't tried the Mustang to really know what the Mustang drives like, but the Porsche felt pretty good. It was really pushy, didn't really want to turn in, especially on entry, and it would push center off too, but it helps when you're trying to just keep it going in a straight line, just not lose the rear.
7th place in the first race and third today. How are you feeling about your championship hopes there, Sebastian?
Well, I think we're doing all right. I think our goal here was just to make podium, that's for sure, and maybe podium in the championship overall. I don't think we're going for any wins here. So I think there's a really good performance here by Max. He did really good in the wet there, even though we had our failed fuel save strategy. But yeah, definitely in the hunt.
Well, quality stuff. Looks like we got 2 go-karters here too with you two guys. How did that prepare you for today's race?
Well, I think karting in the rain doesn't really translate over here too much. So I don't know about Max, but yeah, I think it's a completely different zone here, but I'm slowly getting used to it. And yeah, Max, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's the same. It doesn't really compare. The karting definitely helps with racecraft and carrying momentum, but in the rain, it's a completely different game.
Sounds good. Well, it sounds like the 2 of you are going to be competitors here. We're looking forward to seeing you in a couple weeks at our next round at Road America. Thanks for coming out and putting on a good show today, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
So, one step further up the podium, and Giovanni Romano from the Huge Ass Mustang joins us. Did you think maybe there was a chance there on the final lap that gap was closing quickly?
Honestly, I was surprised I got that close in the first place. I really nailed the S's and gained a ton of time. But I wasn't betting on getting him at the line because the last corner in the Mustang was really rough. Didn't have the rear grip to get it going. So I think I got through there really well, but it was just not enough. Came in rear grip was superior there, but it was a really good fight. It was fun.
What was Alex Harrison's kind of strategy? What did you guys work out from that early part of the race?
And the early part of the race was rough. Frankly, even when I got in the car was not driving good in the dry conditions, and Harrison struggled with it. Even when I got in, was struggling with it a bit. It actually came in. I think I tweaked the setup before the race to be a little bit better in the wet because I saw how much water there would be. So once it started raining, it was good. So I think any kind of strategy was kind of just surviving the dry in a weird way, which is not usually what you would think of, but just stayed only a lap down so we could get the wave around, and then went racing from there.
Mustang's the biggest of all of the GT4s. Does that make it the best? Is more?
I think it's definitely the most fun and the best cool sounding. So yeah, it's the best. I think it's awesome, but doesn't always mean the performance is necessarily there. I thought it was great in the wet, surprisingly. It's not like, obviously the rear traction isn't there in the wet compared to say the Cayman, which is expected, but it in the higher speed corners, it rotates really, really well. So whereas I think the Cayman drivers were kind of understeering, so you could kind of, it was like a give and take. So like through the first sector, I'd lose some time to the Caymans, and then up through the S's and the faster stuff, I would gain it back, and it was good.
Well, the format of the championship means that you could join at this race and still be in it. You bag a second place. What's the future for your driver lineup in your car in this championship?
I don't know about me. I know Harrison's probably available. I think I can do one more. I think one of the other races clash with another league I was already basically committed to. So I can't remember which race it is. I might have to miss one. I think I'll check the schedule. I think I can do one more. So I'll probably do one more. You'll probably see me again, or I'll try to, because it's fun. It was a good time. So I definitely want to do more.
Well, congrats. Exciting end there. Saving your best for last, and well done.
Thanks, guys.
Seven Peters. Let's get to our winners.
Well, and I'm here with Chris Beets and Ryan Puckdall. And Beets, that final stint, things were a little hairy. That final lap, things were a little bit hairy. It felt for a moment like it was maybe going to go away.
Tires were definitely on their way out, and I played the whole stint trying to make sure that they were there for the end. I knew he was quick, and we were keeping an eye on it. But yeah, just try to keep it safe. I had the spin earlier, so the confidence wasn't quite there, but we held out in the end.
Yeah, a quality drive it was, and you put on the lion's share of the work there. 70 laps out of 84 behind the wheel. Was that part of the strategy today?
Ryan, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling 100% today. And Chris obviously had quite a bit of pace, so it just made sense to keep him in the car, or else, maybe I make a mistake or something, throw it all away. But I'm glad, he did a really, really good job. So, that's his win there.
It's good to have a team behind you to put a win together like this one. Ryan, I got to ask, we learned today about your nickname, The Rocket, and Haynes told me that there's an AFL coach with the nickname Rocket, famous for blowing up. And I don't know, were you feeling worried there during the final stint watching Chris?
A little, but I knew that Chris had it under control, and I believed in him, and he didn't disappoint.
That's good stuff. Chris, you looked at home out there in the Porsche. Have you turned any real laps around VIR or just the virtual ones?
Unfortunately, my government salary is limited to the virtual, so this is the the limit of my abilities.
Well, hopefully, with the help of 200 more champ bucks, you folks will get your opportunity on the real racetrack. Thanks for coming out. And thanks. Now, you got 2 back-to-back wins. You got to be feeling pretty good about the championship.
Yeah, we're pretty stoked. Looking forward to the next 2 races.
We'll be looking forward to have you guys. Anyone you need to shout out today?
Yeah, shout out to Ryan, since his nickname Rocket Ryan. He got the Blue Origin rocket up in space the other day, so all of his hard work worked out, and he still got enough time in to do some laps here and get ready for this weekend.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, thanks.
See you guys.
Well, that was pretty spectacular, wasn't it? Unpredictable at every turn. Different strategies from start to finish. Legitimate racing, trying to start on slicks when everyone else was on wets. Rubber City performance, trying to be the first to go from slicks to wets when that changed. Different fuel strategies like 24-30, but in the end, the pace, the consistency of that driving combination at SimCity Racing make them back-to-back Enduro race winners in the ChampCar iRacing series with 2 more races to come. It's not yet too late to join us with 3 hours of Road America and 3 hours of Sebring still to come. I've just gone and tallied the points and has SimCity Racing on 2, Zach's Hitman Emporium on 6, 24-30 Esports on 10, Drive Trainer Motorsports Carbon 13, Drive Trainer Motorsports Emerald 14, and Backflip Boys 15. That's the top of our standings at the moment, but all of it could change with Road America and Sebring still to come. We can't wait, Devin.
Yeah, looking forward to it and loving it. This ChampCar Enduro series, more competitive than ever, and it's still the best way to get from the virtual track to the real track, and we got a hot competition for those champ bucks here at the top.
Forum.champcar.org, right at the top, all of the information, the schedule, the information on the individual races and how to join us. We hope you will, either this year or next. And as we look forward to Road America, the National Park of Speed, we wait to see what that will bring. SimCity Racing are the ones to catch. Huge Ass make a splash as they arrive at round 2 in the championship, and the consistency from Zach's Hitman Emporium and 24-30 Esports keep them in the championship hunt, heading towards an eventual finale. I've been David Haynes with Devin Peters, Michael Derby in our production from HJBC. We hope you've enjoyed this racing and every single twist and turn. Great to have the support of ChampCar and all of our teams competing. We'll see you for the ChampCar iRacing 3 hours of Road America in 2 weeks' time.